Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, Halloween, October 31st, 2015. This is episode 1233. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Texture, the mobile app that lets you access the world's most popular magazines anytime, anywhere using your phone or tablet. For your free 30-day trial, visit texture.com/techguy. And by Epson's new EcoTank printers. With Epson's line of Super Tank all-in-one printers, you can print thousands of documents without running out of ink. EcoTank is loaded and ready to print when you are. Visit epson.com/ecotank to find out more. And by Prosper. Prosper is a peer-to-peer lending marketplace that connects people who are looking to borrow money with those who have money to lend. Visit prosper.com/techguy to apply for a loan now. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and home theater, digital photography, all that jazz. 8888-ASK-LEO, that's the phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Give me a holler. If you're outside that area, you can use Skype to do the same. The phone ranger, Heather Hammond, who's dressed as a pumpkin today. Is that your costume? Are you a pumpkin?
Until it gets better tonight.
I saw on Facebook, but I can't remember. It was some sort of nurse outfit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look out. Bloodthirsty Kirsty.
Bloodthirsty Kirsty.
The worst nurse is headed your way to San Francisco.
I love it. I am wearing my Mr. Rogers costume today. A little cardigan.
It's
I'm not
fabulous.
dressed up. I thought I would do that later.
Did you put your Keds on before the show? Because I missed that part.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
In the Twit
If
hood.
you're a geek, you're gonna like it. This is a show where we talk about anything with a chip in it. I have lots of new products to talk about. Holy cow. Kind of out of control. Got the new Microsoft Surface Book on Monday. Not too late for last weekend, but I've been playing. But it gave me a chance to play with it all week. This is the Microsoft's first laptop, which I bet if you said to people on the street, how do you like Microsoft's laptops? That have they say, oh yeah, they've been making them for years. No, this is the first. They've been making Surface tablets for years, but this is the first laptop. And it's pretty sweet, pretty nice. I'll talk a little bit about that later on. Got the new Apple TV here somewhere. There's such a pile of new stuff. I can't... the new Apple TV, which has some interesting new features. It's kind of mostly just like double the price new feature. But you can put apps on it, finally. We've been waiting for that since the Apple TV came out 4 or 5 years ago. What else? I think that's it. I feel like there's more, but I think that's it. Anyway, we could talk about those things if you wish. 8888-ASK-LEO is the phone number to call. Halloween on social media is an interesting experience, isn't it? I felt like I looked on Instagram this morning and already I felt like I was in the middle of Halloween. In fact, last night I was because of people in Japan and Australia and all around the world. Is this a national holiday now? International holiday. I guess it is. It's not. I don't know if it's a U.S. only holiday. Seems like it's celebrated everywhere now. According to Dr. Mom, you can ask your Amazon Echo to play haunted house sounds. And it will just play forever, all day, all night. I'll have to try that when I get home. Have you played with the Echo yet? I've seen a lot of ads. I saw the ads on the World Series, behind the ones behind the batters. It's an interesting thing for Amazon to be pushing. Because I think a lot of people look at it and go, well, I can do that with my phone. I can do it with my Apple TV now. That do that by which I mean you can talk to it and ask it to do things. You can say, "Hey Echo, what time is it?" I do that a lot, believe it or not, because I have an Echo in the bedroom. Yeah, I have an Echo in the kitchen too. I admit I'm kind of an Echoholic. In the kitchen, I'll say things like, tea timer, set timer for 5 minutes, play my news briefing, things like that. It's interesting because the reviews, people who have Echoes rave about them. They're just crazy about it. And then people who haven't got one don't really understand why they would need it, which is a completely reasonable question. What do I need that for? You don't. You really don't. Like so many new technologies, smartwatches jump to mind. You don't really need any of these things, do you? If you have a smartphone, that pretty much does everything. A computer at home, a smartphone in your pocket, you're set. You're pretty set. Let's face it. The rest of this is gravy, expensive gravy, that's making companies like Apple, Amazon, and Google wealthy. But I can't help it. I have a need. I have a need for the gadget. The reason I think the Echo appeals to people, I've been thinking about this a lot, is why is it that it gets such rave reviews, and yet it's really nothing different than talking to your phone? What is it about that? And I realized it's a deep-seated dream of my generation, because we grew up with 2001: A Space Odyssey. We grew up with computers you could talk to, would talk back. And we want that. And it's not enough just to take the phone out and press a button and talk to it. I want to talk to the walls of my house. I want to be standing in my kitchen and speak out loud, and the kitchen, in effect, will respond. And that's what the Echo does. It's a black tube that sits there, kind of inconspicuously in a corner. So you don't feel like you're talking to the tube. You feel like you're talking to the air, and it responds to you. And it will play a song. It'll give you a weather forecast, tell you what the sports scores are. It'll do math problems. It'll be a timer for you. It can even tell you things like commute times. And, it's much like talking to your phone. Pretty much the same thing. It's a very interesting, I think, sociologically, because it's so appealing, but it does so little. And I think it's the sci-fi dream, isn't it? If you had a car that kind of flew, like a few inches above the ground, that would be like, wow, even though it used to be driving around. It's that kind of thing. In fact, Tesla's kind of captured people's imagination now with this surreptitious software. When you buy a Tesla, these are those very expensive electric cars made by our own Tony Stark, Elon Musk. He's a real-life Tony Stark. He's a real-life Iron Man. I wouldn't be surprised to hear he flies around in a suit. I would not be surprised. He's made these cars, and then they update them. Every month you get an update, just like a computer. Well, it is a computer. You just get an update over the air. And they've been updating them. I think you might have to pay for this. But they've been updating them to make them smarter, to make them self-driving. And they'll change lanes automatically. They'll stop in traffic. They'll avoid accidents. This week, a Tesla Uber driver driving a Tesla managed to avoid. He didn't do anything. The car avoided a head-on collision. Ooh, we're getting in interesting territory. And now the first reports of it were, well, it's not too smart. I saw a video where it took an exit. Just you're driving down the highway, guy's sitting there. You're not supposed to, you can't get out of the front seat. You're supposed to pay attention. It's assist, they say. They don't want to be liable. So you're hovering your hands over the wheel and your foot hovers over the brake. But it's driving. And I'm watching, and for some reason it just takes an exit. It goes, let's go that way. But what's interesting is Tesla owners are reporting it seems to be getting better. Like the software's learning and getting smarter. We live in interesting times. Very interesting times. 8888 ask Leo if you want to talk about that kind of thing. Or just, why my Windows won't boot. I could talk about that. Why my printer won't print. I hate that question. But I'll take it if you want. 888-827-5536. Talk a little bit about the new Surface Book. Microsoft's Microsoft's doing some really interesting stuff now. I'm glad to see it. They're back, baby. And their stock's back, too. We could talk about the new Apple TV. Got one, played with it all last night. I got nothing better to do. That's what I do. I go home and I play with computers. Sad, sad story. Even about this 3D camera I've been talking a little bit about. I got it last weekend. Posted the first segment of the show on YouTube if you want to see it. YouTube.com/Leo Laporte. Or go to my blog, actually. You know what? I talk a little bit about this. Ricoh Theta S, $350 3D camera. Leoville.com, my blog. I have some information. Hey, we'll take your calls next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Ba-ba-ba-dee-doo.
I just caught half of that. What call did you not want? The printer?
Printer problems.
The printer with Windows?
I hate printer problems.
Yeah.
Mostly because they're just intractable. Of
Printer
course, what do I
problems are
have
the
at home?
gallbladder of Dr. Dean. Of Leo, I mean.
Yeah, they're the gallbladder. He used to get a lot of gallbladder.
Well, on occasion, but it was just like a no.
There's always something, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's always some. Is it hot in here? Or just I'm wearing a sweater. It is 71 degrees.
It's your sweater.
It's 0.7 degrees warmer than it's supposed to be.
Oh. I know you're excited about
very
fall and your
sensitive.
sweaters and boots, but it's still
It's hot out there. It's gonna be an 80-degree day. I know.
I can't wait. It's gonna be the best Halloween in San Francisco ever.
Think it'll be warm tonight?
Oh yeah.
Was it warm last night?
Oh yeah.
Oh nice. I
No
like it when it's
sleeves at
warm.
night, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
They have the new Apple TV. Has not one, not two, but 3 Twit apps. Thank you to 3 great developers. 2 of them are 99 cents. 1 of them's free. The paid ones I know use our API because Patrick Delahanty said that they were in touch. I think Craig Mullaney, Houdini7 in our chat room, I think he did not. He probably is in the chat room. I think he just took his iOS app and ported it over. But it's great to see that it's so easy to do. Well, I shouldn't say that. But it's great to see them there. Anyway, thank you, Houdini7. And they work great. Some people tell me they're watching right now on their new Apple TV. So Kara's getting trained?
Soon.
Did you teach her how to make my tea?
I don't know how to make your tea. I don't know how to make your tea. So
100 degree. Are you leaving? Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Fantastic.
All right. Enjoy your vacation. Where are you going next?
We're head up to Sonoma, then Napa.
Good,
and
good.
Yorkville.
You're going to enjoy that. Yeah, that's great.
Thanks, Leo.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
there's no string.
Yeah, so you use a spoon.
don't-
I know. There's no
I
string.
don't leave it in.
Yeah, you do leave it in.
Okay, I did not, but I will next time.
Yeah. Oh, no, leave the bag in there? No, after 5 minutes you take it out.
Okay.
Otherwise it would become bitter over time. Captain Kirk. Or are you a red shirt guy?
I was injured down on Rigel 4.
You look good in a Star Trek outfit. You fit the thing.
I'm a natural nerd.
You're a natural nerd, yes. And are you guys on vacation too, or you're here for work?
Came to drop a friend off.
Oh, nice.
And, he's moving here, so
So you decided, what the heck?
yeah, let's go and
Let's take a trip.
take a trip. Yeah, we went to San Francisco and yeah.
Oh yeah, did you have fun?
Yeah.
First time? No.
Second time for me.
Second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second time.
What'd you guys do?
Just walk around.
Yeah, it's a really pretty city.
Yeah, right.
And this is the best time of year. It's like, this is summer in San Francisco. It's so weird. The tourists come here in August. They go, why is it so cold? And then, but September and October, I didn't mention it's Halloween. Did I mention that? Oh, yeah, I did, because we talked about your costume. My Leo pumpkin Delaquest. It got pumpkin dribble all over everything. I came in the other day, and they were cleaning it up. Pumpkins don't last very long once you carve them. What else?
Hey, can I ask you a question? What if it's a printer that has built-in fonts and Windows isn't recognizing them?
Yeah, I'll take it, but I got nothing to say about it.
Oh, okay.
Built-in fonts? Who would want that?
But it comes with fonts. It comes
Who
with
would
6
want
free
that?
fonts.
What the heck? Okay, yeah, I could talk about that.
No, let's not.
No,
I don't
no,
like the
no,
look on
no,
your
no,
face.
no, no. If people are selling printers with fonts, we've got to address this.
Yes, we do.
8888 Ask Leo. That's my phone number. The phone ranger, Heather Hamann, is here today answering your calls. And you could have worn this outfit on any day. It's not a costume. It's orange, so it's Halloween-y.
That's why I selected it.
Yeah, it's very autumnal, and your colors are autumnal. I know about colors. No, like your palette.
Oh, are you saying I'm an autumn? I don't know.
I think you're an autumn.
Where are we going with this?
Nowhere. I just think you're an autumn.
Technically, I'm an
Are you
Indian
a summer? Yeah, an Indian summer.
Same
All right,
thing.
late summer, early autumn. All right, fine. Is there such a thing as an Indian summer, really?
Don't you think so?
Yeah, you are. You're half summer, half fall.
Right. But it's going to start getting cold, and it's the
That
last
means
time I
you-
can wear this dress.
That means you can wear jewel tones. You can wear autumnal tones. You're very flexible. Just don't wear pastels or
Okay.
beige. Nobody looks good in beige.
What? Hi, I'm Heather. I'm your phone ranger. I wear that color all the time, don't I? Anyway.
You're not a beige type person.
Okay.
Beige seems like I don't know, maybe too much of a desire to compromise. Like I'm not going to commit to a color. I'm just going to be beige. It's like a color that's fading away. It's just fading. I'm sorry. I'm just.
All right, so next
please
weekend-
have me talk about computers. I don't know anything about this stuff.
Yeah, stop it. I am not taking your advice on clothing.
Don't,
Mr.
You'd
Sweater.
You'd be making a big mistake.
Thank you.
Who
I'm
should
gonna
I
dress
talk?
as you next
Who
weekend
should
and
I
wear
talk
suspenders.
to?
Sorry,
Yes,
okay.
would you? Yes, suspenders. That's a fashion statement. You're going to
Louis?
see the Chanel guy any day now. Karl Lagerfeld is going to start wearing suspenders.
There they are.
So, Louis?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Hollywood has
Hollywood.
a great
All right.
question, I think.
All
Very
right.
timely.
Okay, love to talk to him. Hi, Louis. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Mr. President,
Hello, Louis.
this week we learned that the organizers of South by Southwest were canceling panels which would have addressed what's come to be known
very
as
cowardly.
Gamergate.
Very cowardly on their part, but they've made up for it, but only because everybody yelled at them.
They caved following threats of violence. It's a sad turn of events. It's not the first time that discussions about Gamergate have been canceled for the same reason. And the fact that it's so difficult to have free, frank, and open debate on these issues because of threats made by bullies and cowards is really a sad commentary on the state of the digital world.
I'm with you, Louis.
So what, based on your experience and as president of the Internet, what do you think the solution is? Where do we go?
It's challenging. We call them, the Internet phrase is trolls. Gamergate came about really because some hardcore self-identified hardcore gamers decided that anybody in any way talking about gaming, or changing gaming was the enemy, especially if it was a woman, if she was a woman. And of course, they've harassed. Who knows who they are? And this is why this happens, by the way. Some people have harassed some people like Brianna Wu and Anita Sarkeesian, well-known, outspoken women, simply for being outspoken women. They chiefly harass them through Twitter because Twitter has become a cesspool. And I'll tell you why. They can be anonymous on Twitter. And all of this kind of trolling and harassment requires anonymity. If people were in person, if you knew who they were, they sure as heck wouldn't talk like that.
That's right.
That's my opinion. And but now there is a reason, and this is why it's challenging. So you might say, well, good, no more anonymity, and that solves it. But there's a good reason for anonymity as well, because it does give people the freedom to speak. And there are instances where it's important that people be able to speak without consequence. Unfortunately, it's misused, and I don't think it's a large number of people. And this is very important because they're anonymous. It's easy for one person to create what we call sock puppets, which are fake identities, and appear to be hundreds. And so it could very well be that the really most evil Gamergaters, and some of them, by the way, have come out and have been identified and don't care what people think. The law is if you don't threaten violence or put somebody in fear of their safety, we live in a country where free speech, the government is not allowed to arrest people for speaking their mind. And so these trolls are very clever. They make sure they don't, cross the line when they're in public. When they're private, they absolutely cross the line. When they're anonymous, they some of these people, Brianna Wu had to flee her house because of threats. So what happened was there were going to be 2 panels at South by Southwest, which is a wonderful industry concert. It happens in the spring in Austin. It's just a party. It's fabulous. The feelings are great. People learn, and they were going to do a couple of panels, not directly associated with harassment, but because they are the subject of, some of the panelists were subjects of harassment. The Gamergate people threatened violence. They said, by the way, these guys are cowards. They threaten violence. It's easy for them to do that. These are all fake threats. It's easy if you're anonymous to make a bomb threat or to call the SWAT teams out. It's called swatting, and they do that routinely because they're anonymous. If we knew who they were, they'd be in jail at this point because those things are felonies. So anonymity, and the internet breeds it, and unfortunately Twitter fosters it in ways that Facebook and Google Plus do not. It's a big debate this week over Facebook's real names policy. This is why Facebook decided we're going to try to really, as best we can, enforce real names. But there are people on Facebook who say, but wait a minute, I don't want to use my real name. Transsexuals in particular, a lot of them say, I want to use my chosen name. And Facebook's kind of bent a little bit to that, say, well, the name you're widely known as is okay. It doesn't have to be the name on your birth certificate. And that's helped a lot for a lot of transgender folks. They actually have backed down a little bit. They're going to change their real name policy, they've said.
I think it's particularly important for women on Facebook who've been the subject of spousal abuse or
there's good reasons for there's good reasons for anonymity, but as many women, including my wife, will tell you, being a woman on the internet these days is not a pleasant thing.
I wonder what would happen if all the talented women who not only lend their voices but help create these games were to go on strike in protest en masse.
Yeah. Then, unfortunately, they're a small minority, and probably the Gamergate people would celebrate a victory, right?
Yeah.
They'd say, hey, we won. We got them out of the biz. Yeah. Louis, you ask a really great and important question, and it, of course, was wrong of South by Southwest to cave. They canceled both those panels and said, it's too dangerous. We're not going to do them. And I think they heard such outcry, they've now announced a day-long kind of a forum in which many, many more voices will be heard. A lot of people have been invited from big tech companies. I think this is going to be an important discussion in the spring. In fact, it makes me want to go down to Austin for that alone. I'm glad you raised the issue. I really appreciate it. Coming up, Scott Wilkinson, home theater guru, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, Stoic Squirrel, and that takes advantage, and rightly so, of Facebook's real names policy, and they're going to continue to do that, but they're going to modify it so that, because the harassment goes the other way. People have been, for instance, my friend Ken Goffman, who is well known as Are You Serious? He founded Mondo 2000. He's a pioneer in social media and technology. He's kind of the geek of geeks. He's a great, fascinating fellow. And was on Facebook as Ken, Are You Serious, Goffman. And Facebook said you can't use the Are You Serious, and which is a shame because no one knows him as Ken Goffman. And I thought that he did a good job of kind of making himself, balancing it. I'm Ken, Are You Serious, Goffman. Anyway, he's petitioning, and rightly so, and a lot of the internet community is petitioning. So what Facebook's going to do, they want to keep the reporting capability for people like you, Stoic Squirrel. That's very, very important. But it's sometimes used to harass people. So they, somebody could go after me saying that's not his real name, or whatever. And Facebook, because there's so many users and it's mostly automated, might take me down. It's very hard to get back. So they've talked about changing this policy soon. It's not changed yet, making it a little bit harder to harass people while you can still report people. Supposedly, this will start happening in December. But you can see why they have a real names policy, and that does protect everybody. I think it's very challenging. There's no easy answer. But I'm glad to see that South by kind of listened and responded to it, because it's exactly the wrong thing to do, to say, oh, well, let's not have that panel on harassment because harassers will attack us. That's just giving in to the bullies, right? You can't give in to the bullies. So I think it's really good that they decided instead, first they pulled the panels, which was wrong. But now what they've done, I think, is exactly the right response, which is a full-day forum. Is difficult. Yeah, that's harassment. User 0974. All right, here we go. Scott Wilkinson. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, Leo.
On a lighter note, what do you want to talk about today?
Oh, I got some reader questions to answer.
All right.
Listener questions, I should say.
Okay.
One about the the new ELAC subs, Andrew Jones speakers and subwoofers.
You want to talk about Amazon not refusing to sell Apple TV and Google Chromecast?
We could do that. Sure. Yeah, we wrote a story about that.
All right. Well, let me bring that up, and then I'll let you do some questions.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as somebody comes to your house, then it's reasonable for you to fear for your safety, and the police can take action. I know this because I've gone through this with my daughter. She was harassed on Twitter and
really
violently by But what happened was, it was really interesting. This was years ago, because I went to Ev and I said, Ev Williams is founder and at times chairman, and I said, Ev, can you help me out? Nothing. I said, I know you're a parent too, but their policy is they don't, so we went to the Petaluma police. We got a warrant. They went to Twitter. With the warrant, you get the person's IP address. Then you figure out where the IP address is, and you have to get a warrant in that jurisdiction, which turned out to be Chicago. So they got the Chicago police to get a warrant in that jurisdiction, because you have to go to the ISP and say, this is the IP address, who's this? And the Chicago police then pursued it. And it turned out to just be a kid. I think his father spanked him, and it was all better. Never heard from him again. Scott Wilkinson. Hello, Mr. Vision. Sound and vision guy, Scott Wilkinson. He's the guy, our home theater expert, who joins us every week from the AVS Forum, avsforum.com, and our own Home Theater Geeks podcast on the Twit Network, twit.tv/HTG. Hello, Scotty.
Hey, Leo. Happy Halloween to you.
Happy Halloween. Somebody asked me if this is a cat on my desk. No, it's a mullet. It's my new Halloween costume.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know
a
if
mullet with your Mr. Rogers sweater. I like
it
that.
They don't really. Hey, Scott, I wanted to ask you, because I thought we had knew this, or Amazon had said they were going to do this, but it actually has happened now. Amazon has pulled all Apple TV listings and all Google Chromecast listings from its site. They will not sell you an Apple TV. They will not, in fact, let third parties sell you an Apple TV or a Google Chromecast. They say,
as of yesterday.
Yeah. They say it's because, well, they don't feature Amazon streaming. Mm-hmm. But as we all know, that's Amazon's fault. All they have to do is make an app. And they've refused to.
Now, why is that?
So what you have to think is that Amazon just doesn't want competition for its own platform, the Fire TV. That's kind of...
Except they do sell Roku, though.
Yeah, that's weird. Roku has Amazon streaming.
Has an Amazon app on it. Yep.
But I don't think that was written by Roku. I'm pretty sure that was written by Amazon. Certainly our apps, and we have Twit apps on the Roku and on the Apple TV, in both cases written by people, not me, but people who are fans. Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, Roku doesn't write its own apps. Apple writes some apps, I guess, but now that they have an app store on the new Apple TV. By the way, I love the new Apple TV.
I haven't tried it yet. Yeah. I can't wait to try it.
So
it isn't 4K.
No, and it will not be 4K, they say.
Yeah.
But it does play games. You can pair it with a Bluetooth controller and have video games.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, it has apps, and you can submit apps to the Apple Store unless Amazon submitted an app and was turned down, which I don't think it was.
I can't imagine that.
Then their excuse is, on the face of it, hollow.
Bogus.
On the other hand, a store owner gets to sell whatever they want in the store. If a store owner doesn't want to sell a product, they don't have to. And there's plenty of other places you can go.
But it's amazing to me that and I hadn't heard this, that they'll even block third parties from selling.
Yeah.
That seems kind of cheesy.
They just don't want any it's what it tells you is how serious Amazon is about being in the TV, the set-top box business, the Fire TV.
Oh yeah. Seriously.
But I'll get your review of the Apple TV. I only had it for one night, so I don't think it's fair to give it a review. But so far, I like it.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, I'm going to check it out too. Absolutely.
Good. So what else is big in your world?
Well, I got a few listener questions here. Dirk Shu saw my interview with Andrew Jones, who moved from Pioneer to a company called ELAC, which is a German company that is now moving into the U.S. market with a new set of speakers developed by Andrew Jones, this our friend and famous speaker designer who made the Pioneer speakers that are so outrageously good for the money. And he's doing the same thing with ELAC, and he's got this whole long complete set of speakers now from this company ELAC, including subwoofers that have a really cool feature. Basically, you set them up with an app on your smartphone, and you hold the app up near the subwoofer, and it plays a set of test tones, and that sort of calibrates the sub to the microphone in the smartphone. And then you take it to your seat, and you run it again, and it sets up your subwoofer for optimum effect. And Dirk Shu asks, can you calibrate dual subs with this method? Because as I've often recommended, ideally it's best to have two subs or even more in your home theater, because you can position them in a way that really smooths out the bass response acoustically. Still, you need to apply this setup routine to it. And I asked Chris Walker, who's the main marketing guy there, he's a partner with Andrew Jones, and he said, no, we can't do that yet. We cannot set up two subs simultaneously because they use Bluetooth as the communication standard, and Bluetooth will only work between one device and another. It's not a one-to-many. Right, so they use A2DP, which is one of the Bluetooth profiles, to set up the sub. And so when you hear a multi-sub setup with this ELAC sub, it's called the S10 EQ and S12 EQ. That refers to the size of the woofer. You have to do one at a time. They're working on a solution to be able to do both by having one sub, by having the phone communicate to one sub, and then that sub communicate to the other. So it's kind of a round robin sort of a thing, but it's a limitation of Bluetooth. So they're trying to work around it, but that's the reason why you can't do a single sub, or multiple subs rather. You can do a single sub, and you do one at a time, and it still works pretty well, especially if they're positioned correctly.
So interesting that that's how it's doing the calibration with Bluetooth.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So it's playing a sound into the sub and then listening for it, I guess.
Correct. That's exactly right.
It must do that with the rest of the speakers too, though, wouldn't it? Because
no, the rest of the speakers.
How would you know that they're properly calibrated for crossover and all that?
Well, you'd have to do that in the more traditional way. I mean, the crossover is where do the speakers start rolling off in the low end, and the subs, I'm sure, go higher than that. So you set your crossover point sort of based on that, and you can tweak it by ear, or you can do measurements. If you have a microphone and a program like Room EQ Wizard or REW, a lot of AVS members use that, and you can chart the frequency response of your entire speaker system using some sort of microphone. A lot of people use measurement microphones, but almost anything will work except something super cheap. But generally speaking, that works pretty well.
Both my receivers have something called Odyssey, AUDESSYEY built in.
Yeah, great auto
Does that
room
work?
correction system. Yeah, it does. It depends on the room. Sometimes it works better than others, but generally speaking, I've found it to work quite well. You basically hit a button that says, okay, run this routine, and it plays these test tones out of each speaker, and it determines the
and
distance.
it has a microphone that you plug in.
It has a microphone
you put in the middle of the
plug
room or wherever your seating position is. Yeah.
wherever your seating position is,
Yeah.
correct. And you plug that into the receiver, and you say, okay, go, and it plays these test tones. It determines whether the speakers should be set to, quote, large or, quote, small, which really determines whether or not the receiver thinks that they are full range or not full range. Generally speaking, in a home theater, you don't want them to be full range. You want them to be set to small.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, no.
Because you want the low frequencies to come from the subwoofers. Right.
That's that crossover thing again. How do you, what's a good way, because I have a dial on my sub. I have to do that manually.
Well, no,
how do you know where
shouldn't.
to, you don't?
You shouldn't have to.
Odyssey will do that too?
Exactly. It's if you defeat the crossover in the subwoofer itself and let the receiver do the crossing over, that's the way to do it. That's really the best way to do it.
Okay. Okay.
The crossover is in the subwoofer in case you are sending a full range signal to the sub, and it needs to do the crossing over. So that
I get it. So the amp is just sending the frequencies it wants the sub to reproduce to the sub.
Correct.
By sub we mean subwoofer, which is
subwoofer.
a big speaker that does very low. What frequencies is it, like 100?
Typically, it'll go from 100 hertz, 100 cycles per second down to whatever its lowest frequency is. And, boy, you spend a lot more money just to get a few extra hertz of low-frequency extension.
You do indeed. Scott Wilkinson, he's at the AVS Forum, avsforum.com, and talks about this kind of stuff at twit.tv/HTG. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I didn't get a chance, but, of course, it's the radio, so it doesn't matter to ask you, what the hell are you wearing?
Wearing my pirate costume.
Let's see.
My ghost pirate costume. Check it out.
Ooh. It's just a shirt.
Yeah. It's just a shirt.
Do you have a hat?
I do, yeah. Hang on a second. I couldn't wear it with the headphones. I tried to find some.
Oh, wow. Look at that. You're Jacques Lafitte or something. You're a fancy pirate.
I'm a serious pirate here.
That is hysterical. That is actually hysterical. All right,
yeah,
so I
love Halloween.
You do?
I do.
What do you
like
do
it.
for Halloween?
Oh, I wander around the neighborhood. I live in my neighborhood.
Are you the guy who wanders around the neighborhood? Nice. I always tell the kids, watch out for that guy.
Watch out for me. Yeah,
you should
that's
just
right.
get a kid to hang with you so you don't look so strange.
So strange.
Yeah.
That's true. I live on my street, just a few doors up, is a family who spends months building a haunted house on his front lawn.
Yeah.
And there's a line that goes all the way down the block.
We used to have a family in Petaluma that did that. The Petaluma takes Halloween pretty seriously, although less so than it did. It used to be that all the houses on D Street were decorated, but Are you leaving? Go, Scott, you talk, and I'm going to have a picture with these guys. So go ahead.
Okay, yeah, go have a picture with these guys. Yeah, I got a skeleton here. Archandra, that's right. I'm a ghost pirate. UJ asked, doesn't the app need to interact with the other speakers to properly set the crossover for the sub? No, this app only deals with the EQ of the sub, the equalization. It does not deal with the crossover. That you have to deal with separately. And typically, the THX recommendation is 80 hertz for the crossover. And I'm sure that the ELAC speakers will work fine with that setting. But ultimately, yes. F and done, yes, I am wearing a costume right now in honor of Halloween. And so that's the answer to that tune. Yeah, Tailspin, good point. You may not be able to hear below 30 hertz. Theoretically, we should be able to hear down to 20 hertz. That's the theoretical lower limit of the hearing range. But you might feel it if you have a powerful enough sub. That's also true. Even if you don't have such a powerful sub, you start really feeling it in your body. Absolutely. And if you can get down to 20 hertz, then you really start feeling it. And that's what, commercial cinema theaters do. They can get down to 20. Marsworm, would it be okay for a different brand sub than the 5.0 speaker setup? Generally speaking, yes. As you know, as I've said many times, if you put if you put different brands or even models within the same brand of speakers in your main array, particularly across the front, then that's not so good, because you get tonal mismatch and a sound going from right to left or left to right. As it passes through the center, if that's a different brand of speaker, it'll start to sound different, and then it'll start to sound different again back to the way it was before when it passes over to the other side. So that's really important. But the subwoofer, in my opinion, is not that important to have the same brand. You can have a different brand there, and it should work fine. Now, you want a good quality sub. A poor sub won't even sound like pitch. You won't hear what it's supposed to sound like. It'll just be whoop, whoop, whoop. It'll just be really woofy and weird sounding. So, you want a good quality sub, but there are plenty of them out there that don't cost an arm and a leg. Shure is a good brand. Velodyne used to be a good brand. I haven't heard from them lately. Maybe Mike Heiss might have something to say about that. Creamy Corncob asks, if sub-frequencies are non-directional, why is more than one sub important? Because of the way that the subwoofer frequencies, the sounds, interact in the room. If you have more than one sub, you can tame that interaction so that more than one seat sounds correct, or sounds good, I should say, in the low frequencies.
Stick around.
And there's my time.
Stick around for the top.
You betcha.
All right. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo. Nice to see you here. Thank you for calling. Greg in Tampa, you're next. Hi, Greg.
Hey, Leo, and I am an echoholic.
Okay. What do you think?
That's my first step.
What do you think? Yeah, first step is admitting it. What?
Yes, I've got 11 more to go.
And you have lost all power to stop talking to your kitchen. Do you keep yours in the kitchen?
No, I have it in the living room. I move it between here and Denver, and I got to get some more. But I'll get to that because I love them.
I got a second one, and I'm ready to get a third. And they're expensive. They're almost $200. They're expensive.
A couple hundred. I got my first one, from Prime for $99.
Yeah, me too. And that's the first. Yeah, that's how they get you. So we're talking about the Amazon Echo. That's that black tube I was talking about that you talk to and it talks back. You could say, "Tell me an Obama joke. Tell me a Clinton joke. Tell me a Trump joke," and it will tell you jokes. They're all bad.
Actually, I don't need to say "tell me a Trump joke." It just does.
You can do knock jokes, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
I should bring it in here. We have to be very careful because a number of listeners listen to the show. You can listen to the show on it, and if I say the keyword, not Echo, but her name, it'll interrupt the show, and she'll say, "Yeah, what? I don't understand what you're talking about. What do you want?" Yeah. Does that you find that happens every once in a while? She'll.
Well, we use the other name. We use the A word.
Ah, that's a good idea. You can have it be.
I
Amazon.
wish you could customize those. Choose your own, but apparently you can't.
That would avoid the whole problem. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm calling about Cryptowall and its variants, and I got a list of 5 questions, Leo.
All right.
And they're in no particular order, but I'm trying to protect myself. I have not had a problem.
Oh, good.
I don't want one.
The most recent story on Cryptowall is that the creators earned $325 million. This is a virus that encrypts your data and then says, if you want to ever see your data again, you will send us money, and then we'll give you the unencryption code.
Right.
Wow.
So here's the thing. So my understanding is you can become infected in a variety of ways. But my question is, question 1 is, if I were infected on my system, I have a network here, is there a sort of a time bomb effect to Cryptowall? In other words, if an infection were to occur, does it always happen immediately, or would I have a day or 2 or an hour?
No.
Or
you can sometimes see it happening, if you're paying attention, in which case some people have tried to stop it by unplugging the computer. That can cause other problems. Of course, I don't recommend it. It does not give you, it infects you and immediately starts encrypting. It takes a while to encrypt everything, as you would expect. It's not instant. But
that's good news because my local backup drives I keep offline.
That's the important thing. If you have what's called a hot backup, what will happen is, if you're always backing up changed files, the encrypted files can end up being backed up, and that's a problem. So you do want offline backup. That'll protect you because it can't infect the backup because it's not online.
Right. And that was my follow-on question. I presume that iDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, Carbonite, et cetera, if you are infected, that those files will be backed up in their infected form or your...
Carbonite, no.
No.
That's the good news on Carbonite. Carbonite is often used to repair Cryptowall, but you're right about Dropbox. It varies because some of these will back it up, and as you say, if they're always backing up, they'll back up the encrypted data. But the best answer to this really is not to get it in the first place, by the way. I admire you planning for it. Having a offline backup is the key on this. Carbonite has a white paper on Cryptowall, and I should mention Carbonite's a sponsor. So I'm trying not to give them special treatment, but they do have a white paper on CryptoLocker and Cryptowall, and I know people who have been saved from it. So
we've heard those on your program.
Yeah,
I have so much data though that I would be dead, and so would my kids before it ever got all uploaded. So but I will read that white paper. That's interesting.
Yeah.
A related subject is they're all related. Now I won't name a brand name, but there is a heavily advertised on television antivirus program that is claimed to be made in the United States, part of the name of which is Matic, that claims on television to prevent crypto.
Here's why it can't and why no antivirus can.
Okay.
These viruses are modified on a daily basis. All antiviruses do two things. One is they scan for signatures. That obviously isn't going to be sufficiently up to date to keep what we call zero-day exploits away.
0 days.
It takes them too long to get the new descriptions and then scan for it. The other thing they try to do is sometimes called heuristics. They watch for virus-like activity. That has mixed results because you're doing virus-like activity intentionally. Also, you are modifying files. So it can't, if a virus were to really try to protect you, it would just get in your way most of the time. So an antivirus is not a solution, frankly, to this.
That's what I thought. We've heard that from you before.
Yeah.
We referring to all your listeners, but I just want to confirm that because their ads sound contrary, but I was skeptical. Another question is regarding emails and infections such as this. You can receive and open HTML emails or plain text emails. Does simply opening an email allow you to become infected, or do you have to click an attachment, or is there a difference between HTML and plain text email?
That's a great question, and one that we really should hammer home. That's one of the reasons the most important thing for you to do is to keep, backup's number one. Number two is to keep your system up to date, and that means anything that goes on the internet, the operating system, the browser, plugins like Flash, Java, anything that goes on the internet, PDFs, because any of those, if there is a flaw in them, and for instance, there have been well-known flaws in Adobe's Reader, that then the mere act of previewing an email can trigger the PDF load, because as you know, with PDFs, if there's a PDF in the email, many email programs, including Microsoft's Outlook, will preview it. But that triggers it, right? Because it's opening the reader and displaying it, and now the virus is activated. So if stuff is unpatched, that's one of the main things they patch for, is exploits that don't require your intervention. If you keep your system carefully patched, then in most cases, the system will ask you before it installs the software that's going to modify something. And so you'll get a warning saying, hey, something's going on here. That's Microsoft's Windows UAC. Really pay attention to that. When it pops up, really think about, why is it asking me? That's a sign that something's trying to modify the system. And unless you explicitly said, I want to modify the system, you should stop, think, and decide before you go okay. So it's really important to patch. That'll prevent inadvertent infections. But it's also very important not to click links in emails. Be very careful what sites. It's hard. it's hard to prevent this because here's the most common scenario. A bad guy looks for websites, responsible, reliable, well-designed websites that haven't been updated. Again, updating is so important. Those sites may have security flaws that allows a bad guy to install a kit, a kit that is designed to infect computers on that website. Then you go to that website, and the kit immediately starts looking for flaws on your system. And if it finds any, installs stuff. And what it could install is Cryptowall or CryptoLocker. So
we use Foxit instead of PD.
That's a good idea, but again, you got to keep it up to date.
You.
There have been problems with Foxit too. You got to keep it up to date.
Is that right?
Anything that goes on the internet, you have to make sure it's updating. And if there's an auto update, I would turn that on Windows and Explorer and Chrome and Firefox. They all have auto updates. Use those, because then if you forget.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's good. That's good.
Okay, one last question. So suppose that my offline backups are there and there is an infection on a given PC or my network. So now my drives are infected. How do the only way I know to wipe drives and reinstall the operating system is to hook them up to a computer. How do I wipe a drive?
Wipe it first, then then hook it up and get your backups over. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And PC-Matic is not super safe itself. There's some question about PC-Matic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the star of our show, Mr. Scott Wilkinson.
Thank you.
All yours, my friend.
Thank you. And I'm sorry I won't see you next week. You'll be gone, and I'll be there.
What?
But
oh yeah, I should promote that. I forgot about that. Saturday. You're right. Yeah.
Saturday. Yeah.
Oh, good. Have fun.
Oh, it's going to be great. You know, the only bummer about coming in and filling in for you is that you're not there.
Aw.
Love
I completely
to hang
forgot. Yeah, I'm going to see Henry next week. Oh my God. I'll be here for Sunday, but not for Saturday. Okay, thank you. I'll mention that.
What's that, Heather?
I said, what am I, chopped liver?
Heather's here.
No, and believe me, it's always fun to hang out with Heather. No question about that. I'm so glad you're going to be there on Saturday, really. We're going to have tons of fun. Woohoo. Guy Smiley, chopped liver is delicious. Well, I don't find it so, but that's just me. Thank you. Good. I'm glad to see the timer countdown. So yeah, anybody got any questions? We've been talking about subwoofers. And somebody asked about inexpensive subwoofers, and I mentioned what did I mention? Mike Heiss. Anyway, Mike Heiss in the chat room reminded me of SVS. Oh, Shure. Shure is one great economical subwoofer brand. Shure is another one. I mean, SVS is another one. Velodyne, I don't think really is in the market much anymore, and they weren't cheap anyway. I actually found an article on AVS that lists a bunch of inexpensive subwoofers. Just look for budget subwoofers, and there's a ton of them. BIC America, probably pretty good. Boston Acoustics, Cambridge Audio, Serwin Vega. I've heard some good things about Dayton Audio, too. Energy makes some. Shure is here. JA Audio is also quite good. JBL makes an inexpensive one. That's interesting. Klipsch. And Outlaw, interesting. Pioneer, of course, the Andrew Jones sub from there. You can also get a sub by itself from ELAC, and that's going to be very good as well. So tons of good stuff. Nitro has a question, but someone else had asked me directly. That's correct. Let's see. What is the best way to get 5.1 or 7.1 surround sound from my Xbox One? Ooh, that I don't know, because I'm not a gamer and I don't really play around with game consoles. I assume it has HDMI out, and someone in the chat room correct me if I'm wrong. But if it has HDMI out, then you just plug that into an AV receiver, and as long as the the box is capable of doing it, which I can't imagine it wouldn't be, then yeah, absolutely, that would be the way to do it. Web 2992, no love for Polk Audio? Yeah, they make good subs too. They make really good speakers actually, and subs. I haven't looked at them lately, but I didn't see them at CEDIA myself, but my colleague Mark Henninger did, and he liked the new stuff. Revdan Boominity, heard of the new Dyson subs. They really, really suck. I haven't heard of them, so couldn't tell you. They're good for Leslie cabinets. Anybody remember the Leslie speaker? It was a speaker attached to like a Hammond B3 organ. And it was really cool, actually. It has a low-frequency driver and a high-frequency driver, both of which are on spindles, and they spin, which is how you get vibrato. So you hear the organ in classic rock tunes, and you'll hear the organ sound be very pure and steady, and then all of a sudden it goes, and that's this Leslie. This is a mechanical vibrato of the speaker spinning around. It's really cool. Really very cool. Creamy Corncob loves his tuned 12-inch MB Quart ported subwoofer. That's cool. Oh, Rev Dan was making a joke. He was talking about the Dyson Vacuum Company. Yeah, well, okay. So I didn't know that. Yeah, Dyson Vacuum joke. I don't have a Dyson Vacuum. There are so many companies, you can't keep track of all of them. I can't. No one can. So, that's just the way it is. I do have an Apple TV User 3587, but it's the previous generation. I don't have the new one. I need to get the new one. Or do I? Leo said there were some new things to it, but if it doesn't do 4K, and particularly if it doesn't do high dynamic range, which I'm sure it won't, if it doesn't even do 4K, it certainly won't do high dynamic range, then I can't say that I'm that interested in it. So that is the answer to that question. Yeah, Rev Dan, you're so mean. Harley Quinn, subs for classical. Don't things like organs and cellos have sounds that low? Cellos don't. Organs certainly do. Organs have the lowest sound in the orchestra. The longest pipe goes down to about 16 hertz, I think. Something like that, below the range of human hearing. So which is what is just an area called infrasonics, and it's what you really feel in your chest, in your body, if you hear that low a sound. And boy, if you get a chance to go hear a real pipe organ in a church or a concert hall, I recommend you do it, because it's really something. It really is something else. I heard the Saint-Saëns Organ Symphony, which is Saint-Saëns Symphony No. 3 at Disney Hall with their wonderful organ, and holy smokes, did that sound good. Or you remember Also Sprach Zarathustra from 2001. That starts with the low organ note. So that's what I have to say about that. Yes, Rev Dan, Leslie's are interesting to mic up for sure. How do you put a mic next to a thing that's spinning around?
Well, that's the whole point. Is you want it to spin.
You do, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't want it to be on mic, because that's how you get the vibrato.
Right, you have to put the mic out a little bit.
Right.
And because then, and it's, those things are pretty loud, but if you're in a rock concert, it's never going to, equal the sound of the PA system. Right. So you do need to mic it.
So here's the new Apple TV.
Oh, let's see.
This is a touch thing, and you click too. It's touch and click. And actually, that's a really nice way to navigate. So it has, and then it has the Siri button. But otherwise, it's the same 4 buttons that the old Apple TV had.
Is that touch a pressure sensitive? Different pressures do different things?
No, it's an actual physical click.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can swipe, go up, down, and then click.
Can you do pinching moves, that kind of thing?
No, I don't think so. I haven't tried it, but I don't think it's that sophisticated. And then the Apple TV is about the same size, but it's thicker and a lot heavier.
Huh.
And
wow.
It has HDMI out. It has, for some reason, a lightning connector on it.
A lightning connector?
Yeah,
why would that be?
I don't know.
That's odd.
I have to read up on that. This also has a lightning connector, but that's for charging. So you charge this
right.
via lightning because it's rechargeable. Anyway.
Yep. Wow. Well, I'll have to check it out. I really want to get the Roku 4. That's, I think, my next.
I ordered that
streaming box.
also. It's very much like the old Rokus. None of these are massively different.
Except for the Roku 4 will do 4K.
Right. Yeah, you want 4K. All right.
And
I will.
So there we go.
You'll see you next week.
see, yes, I'll see everyone else but you next week.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Leo. Safe travels.
Thank you. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. I hold in my hand, I'm holding it up to the microphone right now so you can hear it, the new Apple TV, which arrived yesterday. Apple said, orders on Monday, you should be able to get it before Halloween, and I did. Set it up yesterday. And the big change, a couple of big changes. The biggest change with the Apple TV, and I should point out I've only used it for a night, so I'm not an expert on it yet, is that it has an app store. And that's something we wanted to have happen with the original Apple TV years ago. Apple refused to do it. Until now, only Apple could put an application on Apple TV. And, for instance, it kept me off of Apple TV. We stream and make on-demand video for geeks all week long on our podcast network, which is called Twit. And everybody always said to me, well, why aren't you on Apple TV? You're on Roku. Well, Roku let us make an app. Thank you, Craig Mullaney. And he put it up on Roku, and you could watch my shows, video, because we do video, on the Roku. But you could never do it on Apple TV until now. Apparently, Apple's process, there are some rules. Apps are different. They have to support the remote, for instance. And there's certain things they cannot do that an app on the iPhone or iPad can do. But they're similar in other respects. It's essentially kind of a specialized iOS app. So straightforward, I guess, that 3 different people have made Twit apps, which is great, and I thank all 3 of you. And I don't want to play favorites. I don't have a favorite, although they're all great. They all work. They all do the job. And that's big because that means it's not just me, but others can make apps. Apple does have to approve them, but apparently that process is pretty streamlined. There are games. In fact, it even works with a gaming console. You can buy a Bluetooth gamepad, and it works with those. So, and works pretty well. So that's kind of fun. Otherwise, it's not so very different. Oh, I said there were 2 differences. The other one is the new remote, in particular the fact that the new remote has Siri on it. Now, I don't have extensive experience with this. I've looked forward to it because Siri has some specialized commands for Apple TV. There's many things Siri does not do on the Apple TV, things she does on your iPhone and iPad, but she does not do on the Apple TV. But there are some things she does on the Apple TV. For instance, skip ahead 2 minutes. And apparently, and I haven't tried this, I will try it, you can say, what did he say? While you're watching a video, and it will skip back 15 seconds, turn on closed captioning, and replay those 15 seconds so you can hear what he or she said. That's cool. I'm not sure if it works, but we shall see. I will try it. I saw one commenter say it doesn't work yet. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't tried that yet. The main disadvantage, they're still selling the old Apple TV. I think it's $69. This is it's $200. This is pricey, and so you're paying an awful lot. There is more memory in it. It's a faster processor. This is the equivalent of the iPhone 6 processor, and you can get 32 gigs of storage or 64 gigs of storage, which means you have to have that. Of course, you can put apps on it. So I immediately went through, installed the apps that were on my old Apple TV, like HBO Go and Showtime and that kind of thing. But I also installed the Twit app. I hope you'll do that. And I installed all 3 because I like them all. I don't want to play favorites. So it's hard for me to recommend this. I mean, on the one hand, I love it because you could watch this show, for instance, on your big screen TV. And since we put all the trouble of lighting the studio and putting in cameras, and of course I dress to the nines every week, I would like it if you did that. But I don't think it's worth $200 just to do that. Maybe for gaming. Maybe for gaming. I don't know. This is what they call the lean back experience, right? When you're gaming on a computer, it's a lean in experience. When you're sitting on the couch, the TV's 10 feet away, that's a lean back experience. And I guess we're used to it with console gaming, with the PlayStation and the Xbox, so maybe this isn't so far-fetched. But the games on the Apple TV or Roku or Fire or Android TV, because they're all playing games now, aren't going to be as rich and deep and sophisticated as the games on your Xbox or PlayStation. There's not enough storage, there's not enough resolution, and mostly there's not enough processor power. So it's games, the kind of games you play on your iPhone. It's Crossy Road, Rayman, things like that. It's casual gaming. And I don't see a gamer running out spending $200 on this either. $100 more, you can get an Xbox One. I'm not sure exactly what Apple's aiming at with this. I want to support it because I'm thrilled that we're on it finally. But at that price, it's kind of hard to justify. 8888 Ask Leo. Joe's on the line in Santa Monica, our next call of the day. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Leo.
Welcome.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. What can I do for you?
Well, I think it's good that I'm calling on Halloween because I wanted to talk about my smartphone, and I'm pretty sure it's haunted.
Okay, what's it doing?
Well, I was charging it via the micro USB port for a long time. I'm talking about years. This is an HTC Resound, so I got it maybe 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty old. Okay.
Yeah, so it was going great for about 5 years. Finally, the SD port gives out, so I can't charge it that way. Then I ordered the wireless cover from Verizon, and it worked pretty good for a few months. All of a sudden, that stopped working.
Oh.
And I had one of those no-name Qi chargers. I forgot the brand, but it's round and maybe only like 4 inches across. So I wanted to ask which option is the way to go. Is there...
I think a new phone is the way to go. You know, these phones are not meant to be kept for 5 years. You know that, right?
Yeah, I don't use it that much. I use it for calls and Google Maps to check the mail.
Yeah, I understand. And you know, with computers, we expect to keep them 5 years, but phones really they expect you to change them every 2 years. One of the things that may be happening, I don't know if it is the battery itself is going to give out after a point. Probably 5 years might well be the limit.
That's one of the questions I wanted to ask. Is there, option one would be like a super battery. Is there like a brand of battery that's like extra reliable and known to not have like leakage issues?
Nah, it's not a leakage issue. What's going on? Well, first of all, always, if I were you, I would always get the HTC battery. You can get a third-party battery, and there are companies like Anker, A-N-K-E-R, that are credible. The problem really is you could also get a no-name battery that doesn't have the appropriate circuitry in it that could explode if it's overcharged. There's all sorts of issues.
Well, I got an HTC battery. I even got an external charger.
So the Resound lets you swap out batteries.
Right, and the external charger, you plug the battery into it, not the... Yeah. So I do that, and that works okay. It's just, a pain to take off the cover and put the battery in.
Well, that's good news. So your battery isn't worn out, or maybe it was, but you've replaced it with a new, fresh battery. What it is with lithium-ion is just a certain number of cycles of charge and discharge. You're typically around 500. And after 500 charges and discharges, it just won't accept a charge anymore. That's very likely after 5 years. I mean, that wouldn't take long,
Well, the battery, I'm not sure that it's completely okay because even though the indicator on this external charger shows it at 4 bars, a lot of times I put it into the phone after that, and then the phone says it's not charged all the way. Like the icon.
The phone has to, in order for the phone to know what is going on with the battery, it has to go through a few charge-discharge cycles. Don't deep discharge it. That's a bad idea. But it gets smarter because it's learning how much juice that battery can handle. It gets better. In other words, the predictions as to how much longer the battery is going to last will improve. I'm not sure what's going on with your phone, to be honest with you. It's old. It sounds like it's not in great shape. The USB's broken. I don't know if this is recoverable. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, our show today brought to you by Texture. Do you love magazines? I love magazines, but I don't want to buy a magazine for just one article, and then I feel bad because I'm killing a tree. It clutters the house. You get magazines everywhere. You put them in the recycling, but you go, I feel bad about that. And it's expensive. Texture solves all this by giving you access to all of your favorite magazines with one monthly subscription. I don't know if they approve, but I like to think of it as kind of Netflix for magazines. You may have heard us talk about Next Issue. This is the new Next Issue. They've rebranded. So it's Texture, brought to you by Next Issue. And this gives you every magazine that you'd ever want, like Fortune magazine. And Rolling Stone is a really good one because there's always one article every month I want to read in Rolling Stone. Or maybe not Rolling Stone, maybe Vanity Fair, People magazine. I always feel guilty buying People magazine, but I enjoy reading it. Texture by Next Issue. Look at all the magazines you can get. In automotive, you can get all the big names. In business and finance, say I pretend I'm reading Forbes and Entrepreneur and Fast Company and Bloomberg, but really I'm reading Us Weekly and People and Vanity Fair. I love all that stuff, but this is the beauty part. You get it all. It downloads to your tablet or your phone so you can get on the plane and you can read those favorite magazines with or without Wi-Fi. Your magazines have the same layouts and pages as if you subscribe for them individually, but with Texture, you get lots of additional stuff, bonus features like videos and photos that you just don't get in the magazine. They also have Texture's top stories and new and noteworthy sections. Those are updated all the time. So you always get, kind of a quick look into the magazines you're interested in. Create your own library, discover new titles, declutter the coffee table. Texture.com/TechGuy. 30 days free waiting for you. Texture.com/TechGuy. Try it free for 30 days. And you'll get off the magazine subscription hamster wheel, and you'll start. Look at all the. I'm sorry, I got distracted. I want to read. I want to read. National Geographic, Esquire, Sports Illustrated, Wired. They're all there. 30 days free. Texture.com/TechGuy. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. 8888. Ask Leo. Qi chargers are really interesting, these wireless chargers, and a lot of phones now support this. I like it. There are disadvantages to Qi charging. I've gone through and tried many, many different Qi chargers. Our last caller was saying he thought maybe he was having a problem with his off-brand Qi charger. Generally not. The idea is you just put the phone on the charger, and it'll charge for you wirelessly. It uses inductance, much like your electric toothbrush. You don't have to plug it in, right? You just put your toothbrush in the holder, and there's basically what happens is a magnetic field is charging the coils inside the toothbrush. It's a little inefficient. In fact, a lot inefficient. You can tell because there's heat. There's some wastage there, and it's slow to charge. But it's awfully convenient. I don't know if the inefficiency is enough to worry about in terms of cost or environmental friendliness. I'm not sure it's that inefficient, but I'll have to do some research on that. I use wireless chargers a lot. We are seeing, though, many phones that don't support it. None of the iPhones do. Any phone with a metal case won't, because you can't do it through metal, at least not now, although they're working on ways to do that. That's why some phones like the Samsung phones have glass backs, because then you can wireless charge through that glass or plastic back. I like wireless charging. I know a lot of people were upset when Google's new phones, the Nexus 5X and 6P, don't support wireless charging. People were upset about that. Google was early on with wireless charging. But I think that's just sometimes, you have to have a nice metal case, for instance. You just have to abandon technologies. I don't know if a lot of people use it. Convenient, but not necessarily I think people want the speed of charging nowadays, right? And of course, to do that, you have to plug it in. Although supposedly they've come up, and I haven't tried it, but I look forward to it, with high-speed Qi chargers, wireless chargers. Qi is QI, by the way, just to confuse everybody. Steve in Whitewood, California. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Leo. How are you doing?
I'm great. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm up in Whitewood, California in our cabin, and we have no internet or TV service up here. I do have a TV antenna, but I haven't tried to hook up any device to see what I could get over the air. But I'm looking for a recommendation for TV and internet access. Not able to do a DSL line here, as the phone company is no longer running copper out to the home. So looking for some recommendation, whether it be...
How does a phone company, if they're not running copper, what are they doing?
They are, I believe they're trying to encourage people to use wireless.
So they must have some system, and I would bet you it would include internet over it if they're doing that.
Yeah, you can get it.
Or are they saying they're encouraging people to use cell phones?
Well, they're not taking any new...
Yeah, they don't want to maintain the wires.
Exactly.
Oh,
For the
that's
folks
so
that
sad.
For the folks that are up here, they're able to do it, and they can get, DSL Extreme over it. But since we have no phone line connected, they're not wanting to run one.
You're going to need wireless internet because you have no wires. So wireless internet, there's a couple of ways to do it. One's satellite. You get it from the sky. The other would be terrestrial, and there are a few ways to do terrestrial. Of course, the most obvious one is if your cell phone company provides decent 4G, decent speed 4G, that's a good way to go. There are also, in some areas, wireless internet service providers, or WISPs, and they use a variety of technologies, commonly microwave to beam high-speed internet. The problem with all of these solutions is they're expensive. They almost always have bandwidth caps. And you're going to need some equipment in the case of satellite and WISPs because you have to have a receiver. The cell phone, you already have one, which is your cell phone.
So exploring the cell phone bit with that, we're not up at this cabin all the time. Is that something where you get a hotspot? Or
you could do that. What you've got to figure out is who provides, if there is anybody provides internet data where you are, and how fast it is. Do you use your cell phone up there?
Well, I'm talking on it.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And does it have data?
It does, and it's Verizon LTE. It's
fantastic. You're golden. So I would do a speed test on your phone just to see how fast that LTE is. But often LTE is faster than landline. Verizon can be as fast. I've seen 20 megabits down and 10 megabits up on Verizon pretty commonly. So that's the nice thing about LTE. It's very fast, and probably you're not competing with a lot of other people. Verizon's got a cell tower in your vicinity. It has to be within a mile or two of you, and it's just you and the bears. So that's good.
Okay, all right. So
now the downside is they don't expect you to use a lot of data. So you're going to have to talk to Verizon. I mean, I've seen they have 20 gigabyte data plans, but they're $200 a month. That's still going to be cheaper, probably, than any other solution for you.
Yeah, I know that they have different plans, 6, 8, 12, and we were thinking of moving up our home plan up to one of those.
Yeah.
For the occasion. I guess that would probably...
Now, just remember this. If you start watching Netflix, you could use a gigabyte a night, easily.
Okay.
That means you'll run through your data pretty quickly.
Okay.
So you're not going to be able to watch high-def television for very long. Now, if you're only up there once like on weekends, maybe that'll be sufficient. That'll be the easiest. Verizon will sell, all the companies do, a wireless access spot designed to use their 4G. Or you can use your phone and turn on tethering on your phone, or hotspot. They call it hotspotting on your phone. Usually they charge $20 a month extra for that. It might be cheaper just to get a device. And I imagine all of the cell carriers are going to start being aware of this is maybe the best way for RVers, people in remote areas, to get internet access, and they should offer packages for those kinds of people. So I would investigate with your Verizon carrier. Yeah, as long as you're happy with them. There may be other companies that also have access up there, but it sounds like Verizon's working well for you.
Yeah, I did a speed test, and I did it twice because I kind of didn't believe the numbers, and it actually came back at 40 megabits megabits per second. And
Not unusual. That's because LTE, and you're the only one using that cell tower, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
You have, in other words, you have all the data that's going to that cell tower, which is great. But remember, they're gonna cap you at a certain bandwidth. So you've got to find out what the max is and whether you want to spend that kind of money. Just remember that Netflix or any streaming video at high quality is going to be about 1 gigabyte an hour.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know, because that was one of the things, is that you wouldn't mind dipping your foot into it once in a while, but if it runs it through it that quick, then it might not be worth it.
Yeah, weekends only. You can only watch an hour a night or something. I don't know. You might have to do that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Tom is on the line from Leland, North Carolina. Hi, Tom.
Hello, Leo. You're the best.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, I got my wife has an Android phone, and she started having trouble with her email app from Yahoo. It was doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and so I told her, well, just log out and log back in.
Yeah.
Well, she came back to me a while later and said, well, how do I do that? So I started looking, and I could not find a log out.
There's no log out. Now, you're doing this on the web?
Well, through their app, yeah.
Oh, through their app.
Yeah.
Okay. Not through the
Meanwhile,
website.
I looked at my Gmail, same thing, Gmail app on my iPhone, and same thing. Now, how do you do that?
So you go to settings. Unfortunately, I don't have my phone in front of me, so I'm going to have to do this from memory, but I think you go to settings, and at the bottom there it says sign out. It will be in settings, at least on the Gmail app, and I'm pretty sure that's the case in the Yahoo app. Unfortunately, I left my iPhone at home. Can you believe this? And I was running out the door, and my wife said, "Oh, I'll find that for you," and she's still not here, so I cannot verify that. You may have to. Oh, okay, on the iPhone, yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, you do that in your settings. Remember, in settings, there's a mail and contacts entry, something like that. You go in there and you delete that account.
You delete that account.
Yeah. Now, that's the same as signing out, because in both the case of Yahoo and Google Mail, the mail is stored on their server. So you don't lose any data if you just delete that account. And then sign up for it again. And that's a good idea if it's a little wonky. That's an iPhone thing. On Android, you just go to the settings and you sign out. But for some reason, I think this is a very poor design choice that Apple has made. And it's frankly a little confusing. In most apps, all the settings are stored not in the app, but they're stored in the settings, the iPhone settings itself, which is not, to me, very intuitive. I'd rather see it in per app. And what makes it even worse is that some apps do have settings in the app as well. So that's frustrating.
Well, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Tech guy, tell me about it.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird and frustrating. I'm looking at Google's Gmail or Inbox app, and on iOS. And in settings, you can see what account you're using. Doesn't look like you can remove it, though. I think you have to go to the settings application, and
settings. Okay.
It's if you scroll down, mail, contacts, calendars, and you'll see the accounts that you've signed up for. Now, I haven't used the Yahoo app on there. You might have to go if it's not there. You might have to go to the Yahoo app settings. It drives me nuts on iOS. I just feel like this is inconsistent. One of the problems, one of the things Apple did so well in the early days of the Macintosh, and they really tried to, is be consistent. In fact, they had a philosophy for it. They called it monotony, which is not as boring as it sounds. The idea that there's one way to do something, because the human mind makes pathways, right? And you learn something and you go down that pathway. Windows did it a little differently. Windows, they like to do a variety of different ways to do. I know of at least 3 ways to log out of my account on Windows 10. At least, and there's probably more. In fact, I know there's more because you can make an icon. There's all sorts of ways to do it. And so that is unnecessarily confusing, I think. I mean, you still can learn one way and use one way. As Apple has, as time's gone by and they've modified and modified, as always is the case, you drift a little bit. And they've drifted away from that original idea of being consistent across the user interface. You just know how it works. And one of the biggest inconsistencies is that you're not sure where the settings live on iOS. Some of the settings are in the app. Some of the settings are in Apple's own settings. And it's just, maybe there's a rule for it, but I haven't been able to figure it out. Consistency is... Now, your wife's using Yahoo on Android, and I don't have my Android phone here. I came ill-prepared. I will install Yahoo Mail on my Android device. You know, on Android, I'm pretty sure that those settings exist in the app. So try looking in the settings, looking around, and I'll install this, and if I can find it, I'll let you know. Richard, Gulf Shores, Alabama. Hi, Richard. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Mr. President, happy Halloween.
Thank you, sir. Happy Halloween to you. Are you going out trick-or-treating?
Of course, we have 4 that are going out trick-or-treating.
Oh, that's fun. Now, do you get in costume, too?
Yes.
What is your costume going to be?
I'm going as part of the Duck Dynasty crew.
Which one?
I don't know exactly which one yet. That will be up to my wife.
JR? So the whole family's going to be Dynasty?
No. We all go with somebody different.
Oh, fun. But your wife decides what you get to be?
Yes.
I hope you get to be Linda Evans. What can I do?
Thank you, sir.
What can I do? I already told you, I'm Paul Blart Mall Cop. I got the Segway, got the blue light, got the walkie-talkie. I got a hat that says security. I am ready. I'm just hoping nobody asks me for security.
Awesome.
What can I do for you, sir?
Well, I am starting a drop shipping business. And this is my first drop shipping business. So I am looking at e-commerce sites if you have any recommendations for drop shippers.
So the idea of drop shipping is you sell something online, but you don't have the goods. They do the fulfillment. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, we're almost out of time. Hang on. We'll talk about some of the options. Actually, I'm going to ask the chat room if they have any recommendations. Of course, Amazon's the first one that leaps to mind when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oh, it's Duck Dynasty. Did he say duck? See, that shows you how old I am. I thought he was talking JR and Duck Dynasty. Oh, well, there's only one thing. You just grow a big beard and that's it, right? Okay, I'm logging into Yahoo Mail on Android. Hold on. Duck Dynasty. Did he say the duck? I guess now they just say Dynasty and everybody knows, right? No wonder you laughed when I said Linda Evans. Okie dokie. Don't bother me. I'm entering in my Yahoo password. This is painful. You know, when you have really long... Oh, I got it wrong. It's like 25 characters, completely random. I'm trying to log into my Yahoo Mail on my Android device so I can tell you how to log out. It's got to be an obvious place to do that. It's the iPhone that's confusing. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That magic sound means, wait a minute, how could it be? Yes, it is. Johnny Jett is here, our travel guru. He just got off a plane. We thought you wouldn't be here till next hour, so I'm pleased to talk to you. Hi, Johnny.
You too. I saw a missed phone call from you, so I was like, oh, maybe they thought it was 12:30. So I just turned it back on, and I literally just walked in the door, haven't walked in any other room but here.
Welcome, I guess, welcome home?
Yes, I'm home.
Nice.
It feels good to be home. I woke up this morning early in South Florida, flew from Miami to L.A.
Looked like you had fun at the game, and in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was in St. Louis, and I was in New York to see my dad, and then I spoke at a conference yesterday in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, nice. A travel conference.
Yeah, T-Bex with your boy Rick Calvert.
T-Bex. What's that
Travel
stand for?
Bloggers Exchange. Travel Bloggers Exchange.
Nice.
So
yeah, Rick
700 people.
created Blog World and Podcast Expo, and I guess he does other blogger conferences. That's great. Was it fun?
Yes, he does. Oh my God, amazing time! I highly recommend it. Next year is in Minneapolis, which will be a good one.
So you usually have a tip for us?
But usually I do an app. I usually have an app and a website, but I've been getting so many questions, especially at the conference, about how to find cheap flights for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I thought I could run through some of these. I updated it.
Yes.
And Yahoo's about to run this story tomorrow, so I thought I'd give you the jump start on it.
All right. How do we get cheap fares for holiday travel?
So, number one, we've always talked about this. You got to be flexible. So, for Thanksgiving, everyone wants to leave the Wednesday before and return the Sunday after or the Monday morning after. You're not going to get a deal. So you got to be flexible. You either got to use your vacation days right. I'm actually going to be flying the day after Thanksgiving, and I found a good fare. And that's also a good time to use your miles, because you're not going to be able to use your miles during those peak days. So you got to stay away from the peak days. And actually, I created a post, and on this post shows you which days to stay away from. And then another subject that people, I just added is stay away from the low fare carriers, the real low fare carriers like Spirit and Frontier and Allegiant and WOW, because these guys offer incredible deals. But if you're checking a bag or want a seat assignment, they're gonna hose you. So unless you can fly almost naked, then stay away from them. Except Southwest Airlines, which I don't consider a low-cost carrier anymore. But if you're checking a bag, then look at Southwest Airlines, and you can only find their fares by going to southwest.com. They don't show up on these third-party sites. So that's very important.
Yeah, isn't
to
that
know.
clever of them? I wonder why they do that. You have to go directly to their site.
I guess they want it all in-house.
Yeah,
and then,
but it seems like people wouldn't find them as a result. Everybody uses Kayak and.
But hey, they make a lot of money, so it's working, and people now know. So, and plus they're the only ones that offer 2 free check bags. So,
yeah.
If you're planning on going home for Christmas or whatever and bringing gifts, that's the way to do it. And by the way, don't wrap your gifts until you get to your destination, because sometimes the TSA might open up. Yeah, it's true. And
I've had that happen. They unwrap them all.
That will bum you out. And also, when people are doing these searches, you got to consider the time of day. Some of these guys, like, I want to leave at 5 p.m. right after work or school. Just put in any time, because if there's an early morning flight that's $200 cheaper per person, I think you're going to take it. So always do any time. And we talked about this one before, alternate airports. Always look at alternate airports. For where you live in San Francisco, there's Oakland, there's San Jose. I mean, all around the country. I was in Fort Lauderdale this morning. That's a great alternate airport. Over Miami, there's also West Palm Beach. Chicago has a few. New York, LA, they all have them. And I actually created a website called alternateairports.com.
You did it? Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It just shows you it shows you the actual driving distances. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's
and also,
often a checkbox that says any airport in this region, which can really save you money. I know, and make it
for sure.
Give you other options too. That's great.
And you want to consider making a stop. Sometimes it's worth making a stop. Sometimes it's not. On my on this post that I created, I did a screenshot of a flight from LA to Toronto. If I made a stop in, I think it's I don't even know where YEG is. I'm spacing on it. If you make a stop, it's $189 one way. If you don't make a stop, it's $563 nonstop.
Wow.
So always consider, but sometimes if it's $20, don't make a stop. It's not worth it, because your risk, you risk making a connection, and and a lot of times they're putting you through airports that have snow and ice. So
that's my number one tip: avoid Chicago at all costs if you can.
And I'm with you on that. In the wintertime and also in the summer, in the afternoons when the thunderstorms come rolling.
Yeah.
But actually, the Canadian airports do a really good job, and Minnesota with snow. So
I've been de-iced. It's a trip out of Toronto. Oh man, they spray the whole thing with blue goo.
Yeah, it is. It's like going to the car wash.
Yeah.
And then again, I talk about doing search tools. There's not one website out there that has the cheapest deal. You gotta price around. I mentioned go to Southwest, check out their fares. On my site, I have a booking tool, and it pops open Expedia, Priceline, TripAdvisor, Kayak. You got to check all those sites as well, and then go directly to the airline and see what they have. And then another one I'm always telling people, sign up for fare alerts and do it way in advance. You put in your city pairs, you put in your dates and how much you want to pay, and they will email you when it's time, when that price drops, if it does, and then you can jump on it.
This really is kind of almost a war between us and the airlines. The airlines are using very sophisticated computer technology now. And the prices, if you looked at, I would love to see a picture of an airplane with all the different prices floating over every passenger's head, because no two prices would be the same.
They don't, and you can't figure them out. It makes no sense. So I was in New York this week, and at the last minute, I needed to change my flight to the day earlier. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm going to get hosed. Right. I looked, and there was a flight from New York to Miami for $59 on American Airlines, 2 days in advance.
Because an empty seat is lost money. So
usually that's not the case. I think they just must have been matching Spirit or someone like that.
Yeah. You just don't know, do you? The algorithms are opaque.
Usually, in the old days, last minute was the way to go. These days, it's usually not.
It's the other way around. Again, those are the most expensive flights now.
And again, I looked a few days ago to fly back here to LA, and there was a flight for $109, which was cheaper than what I paid a month ago. So. And this is an American Airlines.
So you used to say the best time to book is like 6 weeks in advance, but you can't say that anymore, can you? I mean,
everyone has algorithms, and I actually listed some below on my post. Which companies say which dates are the best, or how many days in advance.
It's different by airline. Wow.
It's just different by the minute. Yeah. So you don't know, and the site. So you got to keep checking.
Yeah. Well, that's important too. You don't have they don't necessarily guarantee you're going to get the lower price if they drop the price. I use TripIt, which supposedly will notify me if that happens, but I don't know.
Well, TripIt is awesome, and I talked about them at this conference.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people don't realize is that in the U.S., the Department of Transportation requires airlines to make U.S. and foreign carriers to put a reservation on hold for 24 hours without payment, or with payment, and they have to refund it. But it has to be set within 7 days. I mean, at least 7 days in advance.
Yeah.
So, if I see a fare for 2 weeks from now to go LA to New York and it looks really good, I can buy it and then cancel it in the morning.
Take advantage of that to kind of shop around, buy multiple tickets, figure out what the best price will be. Make sure you cancel the ones you're not going to use.
But except for American Airlines, they allow you to hold the ticket, which I really like, without payment.
Right.
The other ones make you pay.
Yeah, but you get a
American,
refund.
If you buy the American one, you don't get a refund because they offer a hold.
This is why Johnny Jet has a job, because this stuff is not. It's complicated, and it's getting more complicated, and it's all because of big data and computers, frankly, because they're able to make these calculations second by second and modify prices based on demand, based on a lot of data that we don't know about. This is how Uber does it, surge pricing. Everybody's doing this now. Big data, baby.
For sure, but people think, it's too late to get a good fare to go see their family on Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's not. I mean, I'm living proof of it.
Yeah.
So
$59. Wow.
But just look at alternate dates. I mean, seriously, if you were thinking that you couldn't afford it, look at the dates and try some of these tricks that I've written. I'm not going to be able to go through them all.
14 of them. 14 ways to find cheap flights for the holidays. If you go to johnnyjet.com, he's got so much great stuff on his website, and he joins us every week, and I'm very grateful that you hopped off your flight, you ran to the Skype, you sat down. Are you going to go play some volleyball? Is it a beautiful day?
It is. It's hot. It's actually, I'm surprised how hot it is here.
Hot. Yeah.
So no, I got to unpack and I maybe go to the gym and
when do you fly out
candy
next?
Ready. I'm here for. I'm hoping I'm here for a week. So
a whole week.
We'll see.
Thank you, Johnny. We'll talk again next time.
Johnny, have a great week. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Thank you, Johnny. We called because I forgot, and then I remembered, but I'm great. We could get you on.
Well, because I saw the missed call, and I was like, "Oh man, they must."
No, we forgot. I forgot. Yeah.
So okay, so anyway, I just figured I'd.
Chat room reminded me. I went, "Oh yeah, I remember now."
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I hope this was good information. It went well at the
very good information
at the
T-Bex,
conference.
huh? Yeah.
Yep.
I bet you're
Yep.
a star at T-Bex now. Like you come in, and Johnny Jet.
Well, I've been around for a long time, so I'm almost like the grandpa now.
You can't be the grandpa. I'm the grandpa. All right, Johnny.
All
Thanks
right.
a
Have
lot.
a great week, and thank you.
Have a great week off. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Never a week off when you're a blogger. There's no weeks off. What are you talking about, weeks off? Our show today brought to you by Epson, those new Epson EcoTank printers. I love it when a company steps up for us, the users, and says, you know, I think you should get a printer that comes with enough ink to last you for 2 years. I don't think you should have to ever worry about running out of ink or running out to the store for expensive cartridges. What if you could buy a printer and in the box there'd be enough ink for 2 years for 8,500 pages? Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, that's what Epson did. The new EcoTank printers. They were telling me that they were a little worried because, of course, it comes with all that ink, so it's a little more expensive to buy the printer because you don't have to buy the ink for 2 years. They were worried people, but I said, you know what? People are smart. Consumers understand that, and they said you were right. We can't keep these printers selling faster than any printer we've ever made. The EcoTank ET4550. Take a look at this with 2 years of ink, 11,000 black pages, 8,500 color pages. It's an all-in-one. So it does scanning, faxing, printing, copying. And when you need to buy ink, you get them in these very economical bottles or packages, and then you'll go for another long time. A whole range of EcoTank printers powered by Epson's Precision Core technology, which gives you super high speeds, so fast, vivid colors, laser quality black text, auto two-sided printing. I love that. I do that all the time to save paper. A 30-page auto document feeder that really works. Easy wireless printing, not just from your computer, but from tablets and smartphones. Absolutely supports AirPrint, Google Cloud Print. And all EcoTank printers deliver an unbeatable combination of convenience and value. Look at this one. This is the beast. This is for your big office, right? 20,000 pages in the box. 20,000 pages of ink. Now you have the freedom to print without running out of ink. Visit Epson.com/EcoTank today to transform the way your home, office, or work group prints. For the best combination of ease and value, turn to the new Epson EcoTank printers. That's Epson, EPSON.com/EcoTank. And we thank them so much for their support of the Tech Guy podcast. Oh, are they doing it? Have they started installing Linux? I want to talk about this on the screensavers today. So this is the same thing that they did. This is hysterical. Remember when they did the Twitch Plays Pokemon, where you would take control of it? So on the right, you'll see people are pressing keys. They're going to try to install Arch Linux in consensus. They're having a lot of trouble here. They're trying to get it installed. That's so funny. What do you think? You think they'll be able to do it? Enter S, enter down. S, enter up, down, power off. There's no fighting in the war room. Oh yeah, there's, of course, so you get your trolls who are trying to delete everything. You get this is never gonna happen. This is never gonna happen. I could see how, they actually won the Pokemon game, but they have different modes, I guess, which is they can invoke a I can't remember exactly how it works. Oh, wait a minute. Connecting the master. No. It's kind of like a random walk. Yeah, this is pretty much an example of why the internet democracy is not going to happen. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere, the U.S. or Canada. Some interesting things going on Twitch right now. Do you know Twitch.tv? Amazon owns it. Twitch is a website that was created by the folks at Justin.tv for gamers to do their gaming videos. So you play a game, you have a little inset of you playing the game, a little picture of you playing the game, and a chat room, and it's really wildly popular. But they're branching out a little bit. So there's a couple of channels going on right now that I find fascinating. There's a Bob Ross marathon right now. You know Bob Ross? The Let's Paint guy, the joy of painting.
Very gentle.
People are saying that he's the original Let's Play video where you watch him paint and you feel like you're learning how to paint.
I get so many letters from painters all over the country saying, my snow doesn't want to break. And by break, I mean it has all those little holes in it. 99 times out of 100.
So they're having a Bob Ross marathon. And if that's not geeky enough for you, you could tune down to the channel Twitch Installs Arch Linux. And this is crazy chaotic. The idea is, they did this once before. They played an old Pokemon game on the Game Boy. And the moves were determined by the chat room. If a bunch of chatters agreed on what to do, then the game would play that. And so it's an interesting experiment in cooperative gaming. Well, now they're installing Linux and having a little difficulty. I don't know what's going on. I think they crashed it. But this is so. What I like about this is it's not just video games. There's all sorts of stuff going on. Twitch installs Arch Linux and the Bob Ross marathon. I love it. You know, this is the future of media, isn't it? 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Back to the phones. We go. Oh, we were looking for drop shipping companies. And I don't know, did we come up with some in the chat room? If we've come up with some, we'll put them in the show notes at techguylabs.com. Obviously, Amazon's the big boy in this. But there are others. In fact, there's numerous startups. What you're really looking for is somebody to do fulfillment. And this is kind of cool because you could start a business without any inventory. You don't have to have any inventory. You take orders, you do all of that. You do the support and so forth. But you don't ever have to have anything. It's all stored in an Amazon warehouse or some other company's warehouse and delivered by them. In fact, in most cases, they even do the money transaction. Pretty cool. 8888 Ask Leo. Let's move on to John in Rosemead, California. John, you're next. Hi, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Howdy, Leo.
Howdy, John.
Got an issue. Got an issue. I have a niece. I think she's 10 years old. She just got her iPod. Her parents don't have Apple products, and she wants to be able to text them back and forth, and of course the parents want to back and forth, but because of iMessage, they're not able to.
So who has Apple products? Somebody has Apple products. The parents?
No, the parents do not. Only
she does.
My niece. Yeah.
So Messages, which is Apple's, again, Apple, thank you for making a mess of this one. All smartphones support something called Simple Messaging System or Short Messaging System, rather, SMS. That's how you send, that's a text message. We all know text messaging, right? Apple decided that they wanted to have a more powerful text messaging system that would not use necessarily the expensive carrier SMS, but instead use data. See, SMS, when it was first conceived in cell phones, this was in a day prior to data. Your cell phone didn't have data, so it used its own special kind of messaging, and it was quite expensive, very expensive for what you get. It could be as much as 20 cents a message, which is crazy. You only get 160 characters. So Apple, in the early days, this kind of made sense. In fact, this is why WhatsApp, for instance, and a lot of these other messenger applications are out there, because in other parts of the world, it still is expensive to send a text message. So the problem is you all have to be on the same messaging system. WhatsApp, everybody has to use WhatsApp. If you use Snapchat, everybody has to use Snapchat. So Apple's kind of split the baby. They said, all right, well, what we'll do is we'll make a messaging system like WhatsApp that uses data, but in cases where you're going to a phone that's not an iPhone, it'll use SMS. So the theory is, anyway, that when your niece uses her iPhone and sends a text to somebody who's also using an iPhone, it'll use data.
Actually, it's an iPod.
Same thing. Oh, no, not same thing, because she doesn't have SMS on an iPod. Yeah, she only has data. So, yeah,
Wi-Fi.
The way Apple screwed this up, among others, is they don't make a client for any other platform. So if you're on an iPod Touch using messages, which you can, or you can't message somebody on an Android device, because there's no messages for Android. So she and her folks are going to have to settle on a different messaging app. That's all.
What do you recommend? I know there's Text Plus, WhatsApp.
There's a million of them. I use one called Telegram. I really like a lot. But I bet she's too young to be on Facebook, because that would be that would be the number one messaging app right now is Facebook in the U.S. is Facebook Messenger.
Yeah,
but she can't use it. She's under 13. Yeah, so Telegram is a good choice.
That's what you would recommend.
Yeah, that's what I use. WhatsApp is easily the biggest worldwide, but she doesn't care. You don't care about that because it's just for her and her folks.
Exactly.
She's not trying to find an app that her friends can use and all of that.
No. So Telegram.
Telegram would be a good choice. See, Google did the same thing. They created something called Google Hangouts, which use SMS and data. But the nice thing is they happen to make an app for iOS. So you can message people who are on an iPhone or an iPod. How nice of you, Google. I don't know. Apple just doesn't think that way. As far as Apple's concerned, there's no one else out there. It's all iPhone users as far as the eye can see.
Awesome.
All
Thanks,
right.
Leo.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. I didn't get that up front that she was using an iPod. She doesn't have access to a carrier, so she doesn't have access to SMS. So she cannot, as far as I know, she cannot send an SMS message unless Apple has an SMS gateway. But I think that that's not the case. I'm pretty sure you have to have a phone with a carrier SMS on that phone, because otherwise it'd cost Apple money, right? There are lots of choices. He mentioned Text Plus. That's popular. WhatsApp is probably the most popular. WhatsApp is 99 cents after the first year, 99 cents a year. Telegram is free. I like Telegram. Has great stickers. Has lots of nice features. That's what I use. Sandra in Highland, California. Hi, Sandra.
Hi.
Hi, what can I do for you?
I had some young men working here in my house. I'm a widowed, disabled senior, and they were playing around, and I have a MacBook Pro laptop.
Yeah.
And they spilled a bottle of Ensure. It's in the
Oh, yeah, no.
into the keyboard.
Oh.
And it's my only connection to the outside world. And I want to know if that's fixable, or do I have to buy a new computer? And even then, I really don't have a way to get, and I don't even have a number to call the Apple store.
Yeah, I have to take a break. The network ads are here. Hold on, don't go away. I'm going to help you, Sandra. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hold on, Sandra. I'm so sorry that happened, Sandra. That's terrible.
Yeah,
and that's about the worst thing that they could.
A lot of things.
That's
Yeah,
about the worst thing that could spill in there. So, if liquid gets into a computer, the first thing you have to do is remove power from the computer. It's hard with a laptop, and if it's a newer Apple laptop, it's impossible because you can't remove the battery. So you could unplug it, but it would still have power. Once that liquid gets in there, it's gonna. First thing it does is the keyboard's ruined. But the worst thing that's probably happened is it seeps into the insides of the computer and short circuits the motherboard. Your computer's dead, I'm sorry to say. Now, the hard drive probably is still okay. So somebody could take, you haven't lost whatever, I don't believe you will have lost whatever's on the hard drive. So if there's any data that you need.
Everything's on there.
Yeah, you want to save that. You're going to need the help of an expert, and frankly, somebody's going to you're going to need to buy a new laptop. I hate to say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's fixable. Let me see where you're in Highland, California. I think there's probably
store in Victoria Gardens in Rancho Cucamonga.
Okay, that's the Apple Store.
Yes.
Can you get somebody to take you over to the Apple Store?
Not yet.
Okay, that's probably yeah. I'm sorry. That's what you're going to need is have somebody take you to the Apple Store. They're not going to probably be able to fix it, but they might. I mean, they're pretty good at that stuff. If anybody could, they could. But what they could do is take the hard drive out and put that data on a new Apple laptop. If you can afford a new one, can you afford a new one, or is they're pretty pricey?
I know they are. It's only a year old.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Those
bratty boys just ruin it. Now, it is only a year old, so Apple has some discretion about that. Did you buy Apple Care when you bought it?
Is that where you get the free classes?
Well, Apple Care is like insurance for it. You may or you may not have. Yeah, you got free classes?
Yes.
Yeah. You might have. You could just call them and ask them.
I don't even have their number because everything's on a computer. In order to contact them, you have to get onto the computer.
Well, I could give you the Apple Care number because it's an 800 number. So I'm going to give you that. Do you have a pencil handy?
Yes.
All right. Oh, I am so sorry that this happened. Now, those bratty boys, were they just...
A lot of damage to a lot of things.
Oh, my goodness. What were they doing? How did they get in there? What were they doing?
Oh, they were supposedly helping me out.
Yeah, they weren't, were they?
Some things. No, they destroyed a lot of stuff. Mainly this one kid.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sweetheart.
They
That's
got
terrible.
into my house.
That's terrible.
Ate my food.
Where did they come from? Were they from a local school?
No, actually my neighbor's son.
Oh, well, go yell at your neighbor. He has to... Jeez. If you bought it... So
I tried to be nice to people. He was living in a tent out in the nowhere, and he said he knew how to pour concrete, and I just had a lot of stuff, and they just ruined everything. I don't have an outside light now. I don't have a doorbell.
Oh.
They cut my curtains because they thought they were too long. They didn't ask me about anything.
What jerks! These people are jerks. I got. Hold on a second. We're gonna go back on the air. So I've been talking off the air a little bit to Sandra. What a terrible story. These kids came and they messed up everything. The computer probably is ruined. Sandra, there's an 800 number you can call the Apple Store. It's 1-800-MY-APPLE. Easy to remember. 1-800-MY-APPLE. Okay. But you should also, do you have a social worker you're working with?
Pardon?
Do you have a social worker or anybody who's helping you out?
No.
Oh, well, I think that...
I'm $18.79 over the limit to get home supportive services.
Oh, can you believe that? $18.
Yeah, and I used to be a social worker.
Oh, so you know a little bit about that.
Yeah, I know when they really cared about people, and it wasn't Dean County.
So I think you can call Apple Care and talk.
Get a new computer.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. Well, I have to do something different with it. It's hooked up through my telephone.
No, they can help you do all that stuff. That's not too Who set the computer up for you originally?
The telephone company.
Okay. They can come back out and do that. I think that won't be any. I think that's the same cable if you get the same computer. You might not want to get such an expensive computer. I bet you don't need such an expensive computer unless you really like having a Mac. The nice thing about the Mac, though, is you can get help from Apple now. And Apple will help you get a replacement for that. And they might even be able to fix it. So I would definitely contact Apple, explain what happened, and see what you can do. The really good thing about buying an Apple is they're the last computer company that provides support of any kind, anything like this anyway. So
Do you think I should?
I'd call 1-800-MY-APPLE, explain the situation, see what they can do. You might also call the police because it sounds like you've been vandalized.
I have.
Yeah, and I feel like that's pretty bad. Do you have anybody who can come over and help get you to the Apple store or anything like that?
I haven't found anybody yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This really is rotten. What about your neighbor? What did she say about this? It's her son.
His son. He covers for him all the time.
Yeah, well, sometimes that happens, as you probably know. We are blind when it comes to our own kids, aren't we?
Well, this kid is 41 years old.
Yeah, he's not even a kid, is he? He's got problems.
No.
He's obviously got problems.
The only thing I have left is this. This is my only contact with the outside world. And the only other thing I have is a little dog.
So
My
sorry.
husband died, and he's sick. I think he's dying.
Oh, no. Oh, honey, Sandra, I am so sorry. Are you a churchgoer? Do you have a local church, or is there some group that you could call for some help, some assistance?
Not with transportation.
All right. I would call the local police because this is elder abuse, and they need to talk to this guy and perhaps arrest him. You might be able to get some restitution. Well, but I would call the police. I wouldn't not do that. And then I would call maybe your local Salvation Army Community Center and say I need a ride. I'm disabled, and I need to get this fixed. But I'd also call the Apple store because they'll send you a box and you can send it back and they can do it for you that way too. This guy is a jerk.
He's a sociopath.
Well, I think he might have mental illness issues, right? I mean, it sounds like he's got.
No, he's a good sociopath.
He's just a jerk.
Very charming and delightful.
Yeah.
They'll look right you in the face and tell you what you want to hear, and then go eat all my food and everything.
Well,
Senior center won't give a ride unless it's to a doctor's appointment.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I don't know. I'm not really equipped. I'm not really equipped to help you with anything but your computer. I'm sorry to say.
I know that.
But I am so sorry this happened. And I'll tell you what. I'm going to put you on hold, and Heather, I'm going to have Heather get your phone number, and maybe there's somebody in Highland, California, who a social worker or a social group of some kind that can help you out. So let me just put you on hold so we don't put your number on the air. I am so sorry this happened, Sandra. That's terrible, just terrible. And I do feel like there is a local government body that can help you. If it's not the police, there's somebody out there, social services, who can help you, because that guy needs to be held to account. Absolutely. And I'm so sorry. That is just shameful. Apple is very good about this kind of thing, and if there's anything they can do, they will do it. It may not be. A bottle of Ensure poured into the keyboard is pretty much the best way to ruin a computer for life, I would guess. So, Heather, if you'd get that information, then maybe we can figure out somebody in Highland we can talk to get some help for Sandra. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, dear. Eric and Chino, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Eric.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, long-time listener, first-time caller. I also wanted to tell you, the guy who's looking for a drop shipper,
Yeah.
he just needs to call his local unified school district, and they can give him a list of reputable drop shippers.
Really? Why is that?
Because, they deal with massive products, whether it's ink toner, school supplies.
Interesting. Okay.
Electronics. Yeah, so in order for them to stay operational, they commonly use drop shippers to get product back and forth in time.
Okay. That's a great tip. Thank you. Call your local unified school district. Ask who's good.
Ask for the purchasing department, and they'll give them a list of drop shippers.
Very good. Thank you, Eric.
Okay. No problem. And then you can post on your website the original version of Duck Dynasty with Linda Evans for all of us.
I was thinking, I thought he said Dynasty. I was thinking Linda Evans, John Forsythe, da-da-da-da-da. No, he meant Duck Dynasty.
Right.
But that's an easy costume. You just need a big beard, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I kind of missed on that one. I showed my age. I didn't realize he was talking about Duck Dynasty.
Yeah, that was all. I had maybe you help me out with this here. I purchased the Android TV box.
Yes.
And got rid of most of my cable channels, et cetera, et cetera. What's happening is sometimes there are buffering issues where a television show may freeze. I'm running a pretty high bandwidth through my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Wi-Fi can even at high speeds can cause problems. If you can get it wired, even at a lower speed, it may be more consistent. Buffering means that packets have been lost in transmission. It could be slow internet, but it also could be internal. It could be your slow network in your house. So if you can go wired, that'll often fix the problem. In fact, another way to do this is with something called power line networking. If you can't get a wire to your Android TV, power line networking, and I use a device from TP-Link, lets you plug and use the circuitry in your wall as Ethernet, and it works quite well. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So I think Heather's talking to her. So, I mean, I don't know if I were near in Highland, I'd come over, but I don't know what to do. I think Adult Protective Services. You're right, Dr. Mom, because it sounds like elder abuse. Yeah, I'm not an expert on that stuff. I just don't know. Like I said, all I can really help you with is your computer. The Tech Guy Podcast brought to you by a Prosper.com. I love this idea. It is a great solution for people who need to borrow some cash but don't want to get stuck by the credit card companies for those high interest rates, or worse, that payday loan people, those people charge you through the roof. Prosper.com is brilliant. It's a peer-to-peer lending marketplace that brings people who, they're basically investors with money to lend together with people who need to borrow. And you borrow at a low fixed rate, up to $35,000 in as few as 5 days. It is a friction-free transaction, and I just love this. This is thanks to the internet. We got stuff like this. It's fabulous. Here's the deal. Go to prosper.com/techguy, and you can fill in a very short, easy form, and you can immediately see what your interest rate will be. And by the way, this does not affect your good credit. Prosper.com/techguy. Kind of like, this is like Uber or Airbnb for borrowing money. It just takes all the friction out of it. And it's a great way to pay off those high interest rate credit cards. Or, I don't know, plan a vacation, fix up your house. You got a business, you need a quick line of credit. This is an easy, fast way to do it. Up to $35,000 in as few as 5 days. You gotta check it out. Prosper. In fact, you could do it now. There's no commitment, and just see what your rate would be. Prosper.com/techguy, and you could do this as many times as you want. It will not affect your credit. prosper.com/techguy. Borrow up to $35,000 in as few as 5 days, thanks to the internet. It's amazing. Lee in Escondido, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Lee.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I am well. How are you?
Well, I thought I might not have been able to get on there. I've been trying to get you for 9 years. And,
That's the longest hold time I've ever heard.
right after you were talking to the last guy, all of a sudden, on my phone, it went from you to some guy that said, "Oh, we want to do landscaping here. He's painting."
I was watching Bob Ross on Twitch.tv. They're doing a Bob Ross marathon, Puffy Little Clowns.
Okay. Well, I got.
Didn't mean to scare you, though. Yeah. That's the audio you were getting. I'm sorry.
And I really feel for that lady that had.
Oh, isn't that terrible? Now, Heather's still on the line with her, so we're going to try to get her some health. But there's probably adult protective.
Fails. Escondido. I'm only like 90 miles from Highland, so
many people have volunteered. Yeah. Thank you, and I think what we're going to try to do is get a local agency involved there, and like Adult Protective Services, because I think that this is a clear case where she needs to get somebody in there helping her out.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, the reason I'm calling is you were talking to a guy earlier about viruses that come on your computer. Well, I get this thing. I know it's a scam because it hasn't even affected my computer. I'll be on a website that I trust, and all of a sudden I'll get this thing pops up, says, "Oh, your computer is infected. You need to call the Microsoft hotline."
Don't do whatever that pop-up says. Don't do it.
Okay, but you can't get rid of it. You know that. But here's how I find. I'm not that great of a computer expert, but I've been dealing with computers ever since you had to put a floppy in.
Well, that makes you an expert. That makes you an expert. Longevity helps.
Yeah, the way I get rid of it is I go to the task manager and just kill it from there. But then it also kills all the other pages that I may have open.
You're killing the browser is what you're killing.
Basically, that's it. And when I come back, it'll be normal.
What browser are you using?
I use Chrome.
Okay. Boy, Chrome should not be showing those pop-ups. Chrome should be catching those and stopping them.
I noticed that it was saying the virus, but the last time, because I use a Avast Home Premium, and that
Avast isn't good. Yeah, that's not going to do much for you. What version of Windows are you using?
I'm using Windows 7 Pro.
I generally tell people that they don't need, if you're going to do a free antivirus, stick with Microsoft's. That's free from Microsoft.
I'm paying for this one. So.
I know. And Avast is okay, but no antivirus is going to do, well, you can tell. It hasn't fixed that, has it?
No.
No antivirus is going to.
It killed that. I don't get the blue screen with the virus on it anymore. Now I'm getting something calling BSOD, which is a DLL registration.
So you're getting a blue screen is not a virus. A blue screen comes from a hardware error or a driver error.
No, the bogus virus thing I get.
It's a pop-up that
got the writing on there. And
it's a pop-up that looks like the blue screen of death. Oh, these guys are getting worse and worse, aren't they? Yeah. But you're smart enough to know that that's not the blue screen of death because it's a window.
Yeah, and I know it's not a virus. It's just a bogus thing. It's just annoying.
It's coming from the website that you're visiting. So, is it always the same website or is it different websites?
No, it can be any website.
All right, then there is something.
I can go on CNN News and it'll pop up.
Okay, so then there is something in your browser. You've got a browser hijacker of some kind. You actually do have malware on your system, and this underscores why an antivirus is just not the solution. It's not stopping that thing. You've got some stuff. It's because they say in the chat room, it's coming from inside the house. It's some stuff on your system, not coming from Chrome or from the sites you're visiting on Chrome. It might be a browser hijacker installed in Chrome. You need to clean this system up. There may be other malware you're not even seeing, and that's what worries me. Those pop-ups are harmless. They're annoying, but in this case, they are coming from you, which means you've got malware on your system, and it may not be the only malware on your system. And now you got a problem because you can try cleaning it up. There's things like malware bytes from malwarebytes.org, BYTES, but how do you know you got it all? See, a bad guy is going to put something on your system. He's going to make darn sure that only some of the stuff on your system is visible. The rest of it might be invisible so that they can continue to manipulate your system. They want to be very careful that you don't remove it. And this is the biggest problem I have. Really, the only safe thing to do, every security expert will say this, is to wipe the, I hate to do this to you, wipe the drive and start over with a known good copy of Windows. Seriously, that's the fix. I know you don't want to do that, and it may not even really be necessary. The problem is we just don't know. We don't know what else is there. We can easily remove those pop-ups. But I'm worried that there's more to it than that. You know what I'm saying? So my strong advice would be to, people sometimes say, why don't you recommend System Restore? Well, no, because viruses will infect your System Restore points or delete them. That's not going to be a solution either. And this is one of the reasons I recommend people get Chromebooks. This is what, if you had a Chromebook, you'd power wash it. With Windows, you have to reinstall Windows. Wipe the drive, back up your data, of course, wipe the drive and reinstall Windows. I think that's about the only thing that I can recommend that's safe. There are a lot of tools out there. Malwarebytes is a good one. malwarebytes.org. Don't get it from anywhere else. Make sure you get the real Malwarebytes. Run that, and then uninstall a lot of that stuff. But it's still no guarantee that you don't have something else on there. That's the sad thing. George is in L.A. Hi, George. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hello, George.
Yeah, it's me.
How are you?
Hello.
Hey.
I'm trying to find out about a good antivirus.
Okay. So I will tell you some good antiviruses, but I will tell you also, more importantly, that no antivirus. You just heard our last caller has an antivirus running all the time. Can't get rid of those pop-ups. An antivirus that's old advice. The most important thing to do is keep your system up to date and anything that goes online up to date, and to practice safe computing. If you have Windows 8 or Windows 10, you've got an antivirus, Microsoft Defender. If you have Windows 7, Microsoft.com/Security Essentials is free and it works, and that's all you need. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So what's the update on Sandra, Heather? Did you talk to? Yeah, poor Heather. I didn't mean to dump her off on you, but I couldn't do more on the air. So were you able to get?
I gave her the APS number.
That's what she needs to do.
Yeah, we can't get too involved. I need to set her on her merry way.
We don't even know what's so and what's real and everything, but I think APS needs to check in.
And then, I'll talk to you and Lisa out there.
Yeah.
Someone's offering to help, and
no, we can't do that. I don't want to get in the situation. I know somebody wants to give her a Mac. I don't want to get in that situation either, because we don't want to connect her up with people randomly, and it's just the best thing to do is let a local agency handle it, and that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you do want to send a Mac here, I'll make sure it gets to her.
Well, I would give her a Mac. I mean, if that's the issue, I can give her a Mac. We don't know the full story. I think the first thing that has to happen is a social worker needs to be in touch with her.
Yeah. A really nice lady was calling, asking or offering.
People want to help.
I
don't want to do that.
We
can't. Unfortunately, we can't do that.
I'm not an introduction service, but at least I have her number. I'm going to check in on her and see if she's okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, sure. It did kind of.
Yeah.
Well, how could you not feel sorry? But then my head was kind of exploding with this woman. Like, I'll drive her, and I'm like, I can't just.
No, we can't. Boy, everybody, thank you.
It's good to know people are good.
People are good and serious, and they care, and I'm really grateful. And we would love to do that, but we can't vet everybody. This is unfortunately a job for the local authorities, and I'm glad you contacted APS. I think that's the best thing, and they can go over there and they can see what's so. We don't know what all of the details. We can't tell what the details are. So
Yeah.
Somebody needs to go and check in with her. Yeah. And I don't know what the hell's wrong with this guy. I'm just going to pretend he's not there. Is that how you used to look when you were 20?
It's the way I look now. I had a hair transplant.
It's good.
It looks like somebody finally beat up Guy Fieri.
You know, he's a local. In fact, his kid went to school with my kids. I would see Guy pull up in his Hummer every once in a while.
Yeah, my neighbors say that about me. You know, he's a local.
He's a local. He's a loco, I say. He's a loco. And the stitches, is that face work, recent face work, or?
Yeah. What was when they put the hair on? They went in through my cheek. It was $50.
What are you doing for Halloween? Do you have a party? Are you going to do anything?
I'm doing Giz Fizz.
You're working.
Yeah. We're going to party with the
party's here, folks, on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Dick not only does the ads for Hair Club for Men, he's also a customer. I like the lighting in there. It looks good.
Ooh.
We got some strange looking. It looks like we got a Wookiee in here, and
oh, you do?
Yeah, and there's a Captain Kirk.
Oh, Captain! Wow.
Captain Kirk's in a sling.
How come you're not in something?
I'll get dressed later.
Oh, okay. You're gonna do stuff on screensavers?
Yeah, I was gonna
the new screensavers. Yeah,
I was gonna do 3 costume changes, but I decided to simplify. Yes, thank you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So there he is, all dressed up for Halloween. It's Dick DeBartolo.
Yes, sir.
Writer. You look like Rocky in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, actually, is what I think.
Oh, I was going for Max Headroom. But that's okay.
Dick has grown a beautiful, lush head of blonde hair for the occasion. He joins us every week to talk about gadgets and gizmos, and I'm sure you have something fun for Halloween.
You know what? Actually, it's not actually for the Halloween theme, but I saw this thing and I thought, for the money, this gadget is worthwhile. It's called the Max One from Smart Home, and it's a multi-purpose device. So plug it in the wall. If at nighttime, if you have it set to nighttime, when you're up to go to the bathroom, it will light a big wide area light so you can see what you're doing. If you put it to security and you're out, someone walks by it, that light comes on along with an alarm. But the thing I really like about it is that if a smoke or carbon monoxide detector goes off, the Max One hears it and it starts its own alarm, but it varies the frequency of the alarm it sends out because, according to the company, not everybody can hear the high tones that alarms put out. So it does high tones for about 30 seconds and then drops down and starts doing lower tones so that everybody has a better chance of hearing it.
That's why I'm sure the police and fire sirens now do those warbling effects.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it can plug into an outlet if you want. It comes with a little stand if you want to do it that way. So it's an area light, a night light. Also,
how does it know that it's you going to the bathroom and not a burglar? Or
well,
vice
versa. You have it set for night light, or you have it set for security.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't turn on security until you leave the house.
Exactly.
I get
exactly.
Okay.
And once it goes on in an emergency, you pull it out of the wall and you click another switch, and it turns from the area light to a flashlight.
Wow.
And then finally, at the bottom, there's a little USB port, so you can use the internal battery to keep your cell phone running. It's only
this thing does everything.
I know. And Leo, it's $39.99 at Home Depot.
Wow.
So I thought, I spoke to the guy who invented it. I said, this is a very nice device. for the money. And so it's called the Max One, and it's from Max Smart Home. But I just looked on Home Depot, and it is there for $39.99.
That's an amazing price. I think products like this occur because of smartphone technology that we've
That's exactly right.
We've made billions of smartphones now. And so the detectors, all of the different sensors, all of these things are we know how to make them fast and cheap. And so as a result, you're going to see all sorts of it. That's why we see drones, these quadcopters. It's all smartphone technology. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The website for this is maxsmarthome.com. But you know how I found out that? I went to gizwiz.biz. Dick's
Wow.
Yes, I'm learning. It's Dick's very own website, GIZ.
8 years and 3 months, and he's got it.
Finally figured it out. But who's counting? GIZWIZ.biz. You'll find not only the stuff that he mentions on our show there, but products he mentions on all the shows he does, like World News Now and the new Screensavers and Computer America and the What the Heck Is It contest. Let's not forget that.
Just a few hours left.
A few hours. Last chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine by naming this bizarro gadget. I've already figured out what it is. It's a thumb sharpener. No problem. That's easy. It's obvious if you want to, because you're trying to use your thumb with these, modern smartphones. You need a precise pointing digit. If you get it right, 12 autographed copies of Mad Magazine available. If you get it wrong, 24. So you do the math. But you got to go to gizwiz.biz before midnight, East Coast time tonight, to play the game because it ends at the end of October. Happy Halloween.
The same to you. I can't wait to see You going to do something weird on Screensaver?
What makes you say that? I'm looking, and one of our producers is dressed like a unicorn. Another one is dressed like the Joker. We've got a Wookiee. Apparently, everybody, I didn't get the memo. It's costume day.
Oh, and you of all people who have,
I prefer to wear costumes. I prefer to wear costumes on days where you don't expect them. You least expect them. No, I will be putting a costume on for the next show.
Oh, okay, good.
Thank you, Dickie D. We'll see you.
And I'll be back later.
Yeah,
okay, bye.
gizwiz.biz to find out more. Richard, Youngstown, Ohio. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Richard.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great.
This is my second time calling.
Welcome back.
Anyways, thank you. I'm visually impaired, and I got two questions for you. First of all, I just got the iPhone 6S Plus.
Oh, I have that too. I love that phone.
Yeah, I got the 128 guy with the. I bought it off contract, so.
Yep, you and I did the same thing. So we spent almost $1,000.
Yeah, it was $117 with tax and everything. But I got the one that they call the free SIM.
Yes.
One, which is the one that's supposedly unlocked that you could take to any of the carriers.
That's right.
CDMA or.
Yeah, that's how Apple does it. They put a SIM in there and you can use it with anybody, or you can just get AT&T or Verizon to put a SIM in. They'll all do it because they want you as a customer. But then you travel, you put somebody else's SIM in. Go ahead. What's your question?
I was just wondering. let me get to the question because that's kind of more important anyway.
Well, and I only have a minute left, so.
Yeah.
If you want an answer, I would.
I have a lady that she's hearing impaired. She has a cochlear implant in one ear and like 10% hearing in the other. Her hearing aid quit working, and her cochlear implant went bad, so she has to go to Cleveland to get a new one. But she's got, tell me about it. And I have no eyesight at all. So, but here's the deal. She's got an iPad Mini Air 2, and what I thought she could do, is there an application that we could download on her iPad where all she has to do is launch the app and then maybe hit the start button, and I could just speak and it would print it out on the screen without me having to text it to her by phone.
What a good idea.
That's what I've been trying to find, because she can just set it in front of her on the table, and I can say, Patty, can you...
It's kind of like a teletype. Now, do you want to do this over the phone or in person?
No, I want to do it in person.
Yeah. Well, almost anything will do that because of Siri. You just start the dictation mode in Siri, and you just talk. So the notepad...
I want something that she doesn't have to do it. She doesn't have to press any buttons other than launching the app and maybe hitting start. And if I walk into the room and this thing is sitting on the table in front of her, I could say, Patty, I'm here, and she can see it writing out on the screen. And all these other text apps.
Yeah, you have to start the recognition up. You have to start the recognition up. You know that I don't know off the top of my head. Here's what we're going to do. We have a website, techguylabs.com. Last question of the show. Please go there, everybody, and add in the comments what your suggestion is. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows on the Netcast network. It's called TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You even get your daily dose of tech news with Tech News Today and Tech News Tonight. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.